2, 3, 4, 1, 2. We need more white guys giving their insight on things they don't understand. They're like, Mom! You got me everywhere!
I recently rewatched the first Avatar.
How did it hold up?
It doesn't. Okay. We're rolling.
Hello.
Hello.
We're rolling down the hill.
Oh no. You can't stop us. We're heading towards that small village and everyone's gonna die.
Rolling it up like Katamari.
Rolling, rolling, rolling. Oh yeah, Katamari.
Yeah.
That's another video game.
Yeah, Katamari Damacy. Wheel of Katamari just got a remaster, and I got that too, and it's one of the best games ever made.
Yeah,
I love those games. We were talking about games before we started recording, so games are on the brain.
Yeah, and it's like every game that you mention, I'm like, I haven't played that game, but I've watched Game Grumps play it, including Katamari.
Yeah, Katamari, the Katamari and Wheel of Katamari specifically, they're like some of my favorite games, and they were made by this dude who he didn't make any of the games after that, so I don't really care about those. But
I mean, well, they're all the same, though, right?
Not really.
You just roll things up in a ball.
Oh, you would think, right? No. I mean, the games afterwards are, like, fine, but, like, Wheel of Katamari is, like, a big meta-narrative game about companies forcing you to make sequels, and it's just, like, a game making... It's a game making fun of fan service and sequels, and it's, like, really clever, and...
Oh, interesting.
It's really cool. And then then he was like, "Don't make me make another one." Then he left, and then they kept making Katamari games without him, and they were just like games that just reused like old levels and weren't as creative, in my opinion. But the first two are just like crazy and weird and like hilarious.
That's funny. I guess I never paid much attention to like what was actually going on. Yeah, it's like, I mean,
video game wise, like gameplay wise, it's like, you know, they're all basically the same, but just like the actual like context and like humor and all that stuff behind it is what makes it
I know
really
that the King of the Cosmos guy, he's a funny, interesting dude.
Super, like they're just really funny games. They're like lighthearted and stupid and crazy.
Yeah.
They're like satisfying. It's like oddly satisfying, quote unquote, the video game.
r/oddly satisfying.
Yeah. I don't know. They're awesome though. I love those.
They made for good Game Grumps episodes because that was just kind of like when they would just kind of lay back and just talk about stuff.
Yeah, they're perfect for just like chilling out, not really like thinking too hard and just having a nice
it's literally just like a kind of a brain dead kind of game.
Ridiculous music, like the soundtracks are so good.
I remember.
It's like, why did they make music like this for a game like this? Like full on jazz compositions, a lot of like vocal.
They didn't have to go so hard, but they did.
They really did. they put their whole Katamari Damacy into it. But they're awesome. If we ever did another video, if we ever did another podcast where we kind of like what we did with movies recently, if we reevaluated our favorite games of all time, I don't know if I had a Katamari game in my last one, but Wheel of Katamari would like absolutely be in my top 10.
Really?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I had no idea.
100%.
I didn't even know you played those games.
Yeah, I've had the PS2 copies for a long time, and I've always loved them. And then I got the remasters because they remastered both games, and I got them on Switch recently and replayed them. And I was like, I just think these are like genius. I love them. But yeah, we love Katamari. I like more. So like that would absolutely be in my top.
We love Katamari.
5, probably.
Yeah.
There'd probably be a lot of similar ones like Shadow Colossus, Metroid Prime, Metal Gear Solid 2 or 3. I can't really decide, but Death Stranding would be in there. Wheel of Katamari, Kingdom Hearts 1, Xenoblade Chronicles, Outer Wilds. There, you just had my updated list. I don't know how many that was.
We can end the episode now. This was actually our top 5 video games.
Yeah.
I'm not going to revisit that list until I until I finish Bloodborne.
Yeah, Bloodborne would probably still be in mine. I don't know if
I had it in mind, but looking back, it's like I don't know why, because I never finished it. So why is it in my top 5?
I think once you get the feeling of something, even if you haven't beaten it, like I remember when I was like halfway through Death Stranding, I was like, I think this is one of the best things I've ever played. And and that stayed true until I beat it. So I think you can I think with games it's a little different because you spend so many hours with it where it's like a movie. It's like you can't watch 10 minutes of a movie and know, but a game it's like you spend like hours with it even if you haven't beaten it yet. So
I had seen a lot
kind of tell.
Yeah, and I had seen a lot of gameplay of it.
Yeah.
So, but still, I feel like I need to.
You still should play it though. Yeah. Like definitely, you need to beat it.
You guys are probably wondering. Yeah, I'm still playing Bloodborne. I haven't finished it yet because my life is busy. So
last time I helped you, you did beat.
I've gotten farther.
Yeah.
I still have a long ways to
recently.
go. I did, yeah. But still got a long, long way to go.
True.
It's a Phil Collins reference.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And now, you're in the witch village right now, I think.
Yep. And yeah, I'm working on that. Killing all the witches.
You're doing good.
So, but we decided it had been too long since we'd done an episode.
Yeah.
And
beating a video game will take a long time, especially it's only like a 30-hour game, but when you're old like us and work full time, that takes like over a month to accomplish. So
yeah, it's like especially when like I come home from work and I'm like, I don't really want to do anything. Yeah. You know? So
like it took me like. I beat Tears of the Kingdom, and I got like hyper obsessed with it and played it a bunch. But probably it took me a little over a month and a half to like beat the story. Yeah, and then I'm playing Final Fantasy 16 right now, and I feel like I've been playing it for a week now, but I feel like I've only put like 5 hours and 6 hours into it probably. Yeah, maybe a little more, not that much though. But it's like I'll play it for like an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then I'll just be done. Like.
Right.
I just can't really sit down and play something for 6 hours straight like I used to back in ye old days.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to take me a month to beat a game that's like 20 hours long, probably. Yeah. So I don't know.
We're old now.
Yeah.
We have to adult, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we still got time to podcast and watch movies and talk about those movies. And so we wanted to talk about these movies. You've already seen the title.
Yeah.
It seemed like the world didn't want us to record today. I tried to get my computer on, and it's not turning on. So don't know what's up with that. I'd like to get that fixed because I kind of use it for everything.
It's kind of important. Computers and stuff.
We'll see. So I decided to whip out my old laptop, which I like never use, but this is what we used to use for Podwood Forecast back in the day.
Yeah,
so
it's not like it'll sound different or anything.
It shouldn't, but hopefully, like, because I never use it and it's old, so hopefully it doesn't just like quit on us.
Right. But we'll see.
You remember there has been those episodes where I think it was the first time we attempted we did our favorite films episodes, and then there was like the part 2 where it's like, hey, we've like tried to do this like 3 times.
Yeah.
Because like I think the first time I accidentally deleted stuff, and then the second time while we were recording, the computer just exploded.
Yeah, that's right.
Or no, it was the audio interface that exploded.
Yeah, that's it.
And so that. Hopefully that's not one of these situations.
It'd be really funny.
No, that wouldn't be. I have too many things in my life that are just like not working.
True.
I have my car break down on me.
Car and computer.
And now the world is on fire currently as we're speaking.
Horrific air quality warning.
Yeah, because Canada is on fire.
My weather app literally is like health warning. I'm like,
don't go outside.
Like I remember I walked outside of work today, and I looked out the window and it looked foggy, like I thought it was raining or something. Yeah. I stepped outside and it smelled like a distant campfire. Mm-hmm. I was like, what the heck?
It's Canada.
Yeah. And I'd like heard about that, but I was like, I didn't realize it would be so like intense down here.
Yeah. And this is definitely going to date the episode, but yeah, I don't know what it's like for like where you guys are at right now, but for us in Illinois, we're getting some of that smoke over here all the way from Canada. So
it's gnarly.
Prayers going out to all you Canadians. I don't know how many Canadian listeners we have.
Probably at least like a half of one.
Yeah.
One half Canadian is out there listening.
Half a Canadian. I might be half Canadian. I don't even know.
It's horrible.
I hope you guys are all well. out there. But yeah, today's been an adventure for sure.
Oh yeah.
Also, my throat is hurting.
Yeah.
So
we're just falling apart over here.
Yeah. But this is we do this for you guys.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Forecast.
We're
committed.
We're bleeding and dying and crying, talking about movies and video games.
We're committed. So yeah.
Have you been watching anything interesting lately? What's the world
other than what
media?
we're going to talk about today?
Yeah.
Well, I saw Asteroid City.
That I still need to see.
By Mr. Anderson.
I went and saw. I don't know. I think I forgot to text you about it, but I was. Me and Abby were up visiting her friend Maria, and we hung out up in Chicago for the day. And her friends wanted to go to a place called the Music Box, which I had kind of heard of. It's like a movie theater up in Chicago, and they do a bunch of like film screenings, like actual film, like 35 millimeter, which I had never done before.
Cool.
And we went and saw Rushmore, a Wes Anderson movie.
Oh yeah, I saw that you logged that on Letterboxd.
Yeah, so we went and saw that. They played it on 35 millimeter, and it's just this really old movie theater, and you get like that. It was like the crowd. It was like a full theater.
Oh wow!
And it's like so it's like really film grainy, and it just looked really good. And because everyone there is like probably super geeky in the movies and stuff, like just everyone laughing in unison to like the humor of Rushmore and like really getting it. It was like because part of me is like I usually hate noisy theaters, but that was like it was such a fun experience because everyone like understanding the humor. Not being disruptive.
Yeah, as long as they're respectful.
Yeah, it totally added to the experience, and there's like a reverb echo to it because it's like a very old timey, old school like theater room.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
Cool.
And before they play it, there's like an old guy like on this organ playing like old timey music before it starts. Yeah, it was it was so cool. Like I'm like, dude, I need to take you to like the Music Box sometime.
Dude, yeah, where is it at?
It's up in Chicago. I don't know what part, but it was super cool. I was like, man, we need to do that.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down anytime.
It was great, and it made
that was your first time.
Want to watch more Wes Anderson movies. So.
Was that your first time seeing Rushmore?
Yeah,
because I haven't seen it either.
It was really good. You can tell it's one of his older ones because the style isn't as intense, but it's still there, obviously. But it was Jason Schwartzman, like. Awesome. He's awesome.
That was his birthday recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was amazing in it. Bill Murray was awesome in it. It was really good. It was super funny, like sometimes a little like weird, but disturbing.
That's that's what you get.
Yeah, maybe not disturbing is maybe not the word, but like it was just a very like it's one of those movies where it's like the main character is kind of a douchebag, but he's just interesting. Yeah, I like it though. It was not what I expected at all.
Cool. But, I've seen like mostly all of Wes Anderson's films except for his like first two ones. I haven't seen Rushmore and I haven't seen Bottle Rocket.
Bottle Rocket's good too. I like Bottle Rocket.
I need to.
It's not one of my favorites or anything, but it's good. Rushmore I really like. It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to see Asteroid City.
City was good.
I've been hearing like better things about it compared to The French Dispatch.
It's been mixed, I feel like. Yeah. Pretty mixed, but...
Which interests me more, because people are like, it just gets like weird. Like, it's like it goes out of left field out of nowhere. And I'm like, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it kind of does.
I kind of like the idea. That sounds cool to me. Because I was worried it was just going to be like super cut and like super just straightforward. Like, all right, it's another Wes Anderson movie with no twists to it. But I keep hearing interesting things that got me kind of excited to see it again. So
yeah, you should see it, and then we'll talk about it. You also should see Beau is Afraid.
Yeah, I need to.
I think that would be an interesting
I'll probably wait to get that like on digital, and I'll try to like watch it.
It's on streaming right now, I believe. I think you have to pay for it, but
oh yeah, true. Like rent it or something.
Yeah,
I'll find a way.
Yeah, I also watched a movie called Wendy and Lucy.
Oh yeah,
that was for Sardonicast, and it's an interesting movie. It's basically I said this in my review on Letterboxd, but it's Into the Wild meets Pig.
Yeah. I've wanted to watch stuff from that director. I know she did First Cow recently, which I know some
people
this was
my first time like watching anything from her. So.
Yeah, I heard she's really good.
Reichardt, I think. Reichardt, I
something like that. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, it's something like that. But it was a decent movie. So we started in our last episode a new thing where people can like put in questions for us to answer, and we don't have any right now.
We're so lame.
I'm just taking this opportunity to remind everyone that on the Podwood Forecast Facebook community, after every episode, I'm going to pin a post for you guys to comment and leave your questions. Anything that you'd like us to answer at all. And we'll, like, answer it at usually, like, I think this part of the episode, you know, like more near the beginning. So yeah, just, anything interesting that you might have. Or maybe it's not that interesting. Just whatever.
Just try.
Ask me anything. Just
AMA.
try.
AMA, baby.
Yeah, AMA.
You know what else I want to see? You're the one who brought it up to me first, but now I have like friends and people who have been saying that they like love it. Is Blackberry?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
I want to see it really bad.
I want to as well.
I know people that like are saying it's probably like one of their favorites of the year.
I wanted to see it in theaters and I missed it.
Yeah,
but it's probably available for purchase online somewhere.
I thought it looked good based off the trailer, but now it's like it's getting like better reception than I even expected. Like I'm like really excited to watch it now. Yeah,
I haven't heard
one of my friends specifically was like, "You would love this specifically."
Yeah,
and I was like, "This is such a movie for you," and I was like, "Really? Okay." Glenn Howerton's apparently like incredible in it, so it's like
yeah. I always had a lot of faith in Glenn Howerton.
Yeah,
I mean he's hilarious in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but you can also see that he has some acting prowess in it. So I was really excited to learn that he was in this movie, like doing a serious role, even though I've heard that this movie definitely has comedic elements in it because it's who's the director? Is it Matt Johnson?
Yeah. And he's like a pretty comedic dude.
I still haven't seen anything by him, but I know that he did
like Nirvana
the band, the show.
Yeah. He did like The Dirties, and which was like kind of like a sleeper hit movie, Operation Avalanche. But yeah, Nirvana, the band, the show, I think was kind of his main thing. So
yeah,
I'm pretty excited to watch it because I remember I was like, oh, it's like a movie about black, okay. But I think the point is that it's like funny that they would make a movie about like the black, like who cares? But that's kind of the point. I feel like biopics. I never know how to say it. Movies are kind of. I think some directors are realizing it's so tropey to do that, and they're trying to like. There's like a weird wave of like ironic ones almost.
Yeah,
you know?
if it's kind of like if a movie is a big blockbuster, if it's not Star Wars or Marvel or DC, it's like a biopic.
Yeah,
you got like your Elvis movies and such.
Uh-huh.
But
like the Weird Al one was just straight up like a parody of those kinds of movies. Like obviously,
even though that is a particular kind of biopic where it's about a musician and a star, there is like this weird new trend of like true life biopics, whatever, about like
the person who invented this or
they're like about companies and such.
Yeah, there was like one about the Flaming Hot Cheetah recently, which was apparently based on a complete lie. It's like the movie's like not like I guess the person, like the story of that documentary or movie or whatever it was is like just completely like not true. Which is really funny to me. I don't know if they did that on purpose.
I mean, it looks silly in the trailers, honestly. It's like just this one guy that just like discovered Flaming Hot Cheetos accidentally.
I just read like some like article or something about it. It's like like the story that this movie portrays like is completely false. Like like just completely fabricated. And I don't know if that was intentional or if they just totally got it wrong.
I never thought that like
I don't know anything about it, so I'm just super confused by its existence. I don't know if I'll watch it.
I'll have to do some research.
Yeah.
But I never thought that Flaming Hot Cheetos was like just some random accident from some guy. Like,
no.
It's not that original of an idea.
No, not at all. They totally just were like, let's make a hot Cheeto. And then they like, it wasn't some accident. But I think it's like, I guess someone made up that story and they made a movie based off it. And I don't know if they did it and just thought it would be funny to make a fake like movie about that, or if they legit thought that story was real, made a movie off of it, and were like, oops. I don't know. It's weird.
Oops.
I don't know anything about it, so I'm kind of just
that's funny.
Observing vaguely, but it could be like just a big prank or something.
It's just a prank, bro. Well, now it was recently announced. There was a trailer that came out. They're making a movie about the whole Radio Shack GameStop. No, not Radio Shack. GameStop.
The stock
Robin
thing?
Hood thing.
Yeah, with Paul Dano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Okay. Which part of me is like, that's dumb, but it's Paul Dano, so it just makes me want to watch it.
I mean, like, Paul
funny.
Dano is like the perfect casting for like your average Redditor guy.
Yeah, totally.
So I can see that. And then Nick Offerman's in it, and I think.
Oh yeah.
Why am I blanking on his name? Joel. People say I look like him.
I have no idea.
He has the laugh. The
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen, yeah.
Joel?
I don't know where I got Joel from.
Oh my!
And I don't even know why I blanked out on Seth Rogen
that was
in
really
the first place. It's been a long day.
That was
I
horrible.
have Canadian fumes in my brain.
That's okay. True.
But yeah, that's gonna be a thing now.
And the only other biopic I'd be like excited for if it ever does. It will probably never happen because no one wants to fund the dude. But Richard Kelly was apparently slated to direct a movie about the guy who like created the Twilight Zone or something.
Oh yeah, Rod Serling. Yeah,
he was supposed to make a movie about Rod Sterling or something.
Sterling.
Sorry, I have no
Lindsay
idea.
Sterling.
I have no idea. Yeah, Sterling, but there was like
I think you mentioned that on the show
that.
before.
Yeah, and
I would totally watch that. Rod Serling is an
love-
interesting guy.
Yeah, and I think Richard Kelly making a movie about that is like such a perfect fit. I'm like, oh man, that'd be awesome, but it's probably not going to happen because no one wants to give him money because of Southland Tales.
Okay.
And then he made The Box, which is also incredible, but no one saw it because the trailers looked weird and it was like it was
he's just gotta be like, hey, Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
That's the only movie I ever did. Please give me money.
Oh, man. But yeah, it's crazy. I feel like it would be so cool.
That would be.
It probably won't happen.
I don't know much about Rod Serling's life, but just like based off of his writings.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the episodes that he wrote for Twilight Zone were very personal for him.
Yeah.
He was very like anti-communist and such and very outspoken about that.
And I feel like he would just, like, the whole Twilight Zone, the weirdness of that, he would play that into it. He would play into that stylistically as well. I just feel like...
Do, like, a sort of, like... Well, I guess Ed Wood's not really like that. Ed Wood's kind of, like, pretty straight up face value.
Like, I just feel like he would play into the Twilight Zone aspect of that and incorporate that stylistically somehow. I don't know. Because Richard Kelly, all of his movies are just go, like, kind of crazy and weird. I don't think he would like overdo it or anything, but I just feel like he could incorporate a really specific tone that would be fitting for someone who's heavily associated with something like the Twilight Zone and kind of like playing into that a little bit. Not making it like a total fantasy movie, but having that quirk to it,
Yeah, I just hope they don't overdo it because, like,
they won't because it won't get made anyways.
Oh,
so.
well,
like if
it were to happen,
it was more just like rumors and talk, and they're pretty old rumors too. So I highly doubt it'll ever happen.
Well, maybe someone will make it.
I have a feeling some movie about Rod Serling will happen, but it's not gonna be. I just feel like it's gonna be some random director.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I just doubt it. No studio wants to fund Richard Kelly.
Yeah.
Maybe he could get a Netflix exclusive or something.
It's his fault.
No, it's not. It's the general public's fault.
Actually,
it's distributors' fault for marketing Southland Tales and The Box like normal blockbuster AAA movies that everyone should go see and playing.
Well, if it's got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in it, then it's obviously going to be like, like Jumanji or whatever.
Oh, not at all. No, I think that movie is the reason The Rock like refuses to do anything weird ever again. Because he was like, he was not a good boy in that movie.
Yeah, well,
no one was.
He still did Tooth Fairy, so that was kind of weird. That was his own fault.
Yeah, Tooth Fairy was his real downfall.
Yeah. Anyways, was there anything else? I guess we didn't really plan on like chatting about this for a while before we got to the main topic, but
right.
it just happened.
Trying
to think if there's anything else coming out.
Yeah, we didn't have questions or updates or anything. So.
Barbie and Oppenheimer are coming out.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious about Barbie.
I think they're both going to be good. I think I'm going to probably end up liking Oppenheimer more, but I think Barbie's going to be super fun.
Yeah.
Legit, I don't know, it just looks good. I mean, I know it's the meme, everyone is excited for it, but it looks fun. It looks interesting. There's a weird amount of production value.
Right, yeah.
They're building they built a whole, it's just weird. It's why are they putting so much effort into it? And it kind of makes you
wonder, how involved, I don't know who owns Barbie.
Mattel.
It makes you wonder how involved they were and how much they really care.
I'm sure they just kind of told Greta Gerwig to do whatever, but I'm sure they had to keep to some guidelines. But it doesn't come it's like a Lego movie thing where it's oh, they're making a Barbie movie. It's just gonna be a commercial, but it doesn't seem like it's just gonna be an ad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because in the trailer, there's that innuendo in the trailer.
Yeah, it's PG-13, so it's
yeah. So I found that interesting. It's not made for
kids, which is it's weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird that it exists.
Yeah, don't take your kids to see it.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm
kind of surprised. I won't be surprised if it becomes some contentious point of controversy where it's we took my 4-year-old girl who she just loves Barbie, and we went to take her to see Barbie and My Little Annabelle.
It's PG-13. I thought that was weird, but we went ahead and saw it anyway.
Sexual contents, even though I took her to a PG-13 movie that tells you what's going to be in the movie.
I mean, Asteroid City was PG-13, but it's still there's kind of a nude scene in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, PG-13 can get away with a little bit of nudity.
It was a little bit. It was through a shower thing, but you could definitely
Total Recall, the remake, was PG-13 and just had full-on frontal nudity for a second.
In The Graduate, I think that's technically PG or whatever, but there's one frame of nudity.
Yeah.
It's oh.
Is that back when PG was
yeah, they were when
the Temple of Doom was PG, and you have people, and that movie should not be PG. It's insane that it was PG.
Yeah,
but that PG-13 wasn't really a thing then.
Things have definitely changed. I mean, in E.T., it's PG, but you have them saying all sorts of little naughty words,
little profanities.
Yeah. Little profanities.
Yeah,
that should be a movie.
Well, it's back when you could just say parental guidance, and you assumed people were smart enough to have parents be guiding to guide their children away from it if need be. But now people are dumb and just don't know what acronyms stand for anymore. They just think PG means
pretty good.
5 years old. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, that's
pretty good for 13-year-olds.
PG. Pretty good 13 times.
I mean, it's I went to a movie theater. I think it was at the Music Box, actually. They had a list of every rating, and next to each one, they had a G, good for everyone, PG, good for most ages, PG-13, maybe research before taking it. They had to explain it. So it's I know most people aren't that dumb, but it's come on.
R is for
there's so many
really good.
Like,
you should bring your kids to see it.
Like a bunch of like moms and like people getting angry over Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for like having an F-bomb in it.
Oh gosh.
When it's like you gotta research this. You can't just see it like, yeah, it's a Marvel movie, but you can't just assume that every Marvel movie is gonna be for like 5-year-olds.
Yeah, right. You gotta look.
Which I don't think they are kids' movies anyway, because all of them have like a general amount of language and violence and stuff.
You gotta look at the plugged-in online reviews.
Yeah.
That literally,
IMDb literally has like a thing, like a guide telling you like every reason why a movie is rated what it is.
Oh, okay.
So if it's like rated PG-13, it'll say like there is a scene of nudity, there is one F-bomb in it, there is this, like it'll tell you everything.
Yeah, that's what
it's like it's like a parental guide. Like,
yeah, plugged in online, and that was from Focus on the Family, and they would give you details like. Here's a section on sexuality, like what sexual things are in there. Like, this person has this suggestive dress on.
Yeah.
Like, it would even be like that detailed. about it. Like,
it's not
this
parents'
person
job
says,
to know
"Oh my God."
Yeah. Well, it's not the parents' job to know what media their kids are consuming.
Exactly. It's not the parents' job to be a parent. Anyways,
yeah.
speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, it's time for a break.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I forgot.
Guardians of the break.
Yeah, Guardians of the break. We'll be back with a short break, a short. Hey guys, Clifford here. Mitchell isn't here currently, so I'm joined by AI Mitchell, and we wanted to tell you a little story. Isn't that right, AI Mitchell?
That's totally right, my best friend Clifford.
When we started this podcast a few years ago, one of the coolest things was being able to read the reviews that our listeners left us. It was so encouraging and exciting to see the feedback.
Yeah, it was a super cool time.
However, I learned that when you go to Apple Podcasts to look at your reviews, it only shows you reviews from people in your own region. So, like, the only reviews that would show up were people that lived in the U.S.
Wow, that's crazy and kind of silly.
That's when I learned about My Podcast Reviews. They allow you to read reviews from people from anywhere in the world. When I signed us up, I saw reviews from people I had never seen before from different parts of the world. It was so cool to see that people from different countries were enjoying our podcast.
Hello, everyone from Germany.
And so, years later, we have now partnered with My Podcast Reviews and are spreading the word. If you have a podcast, sign up now with our affiliate link in the episode description and sign up for their 7-day free trial.
You'll never miss another review again. Your listeners will love hearing their names and reviews shared in your podcast, and it's so easy for you.
Just add your podcast, or all of them, and they do all the rest. No more checking all 175 Apple Podcast regions and other apps. No more screenshots. They send the reviews to you in text you can easily copy and with shareable links for every review. Again, go to our affiliate link in the episode description and sign up for My Podcast Reviews today. Anything else to say, AI Mitchell?
I think that you are to say happy for me and the whole family.
Okay, it looks like AI Mitchell is getting a little confused. Gonna have to put him to bed.
Good night at Nick at Night.
And by the way, the women are always saving the men around here. You might want to think about changing the name to ex-women.
I'm a creep.
That's the best radio hit. Oh, wait. That's
a reference.
In the movie.
Yeah.
Probably the best use of that song in a movie that I've ever seen.
So I know
honestly.
we're diving into it immediately, but
yeah.
let's just roll.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Liked it. Spoilers.
Everyone's seen it. So spoilers.
Yeah, we are a little late to the game, but you know, it's still in theaters.
I mean, this is the opening I'm going to talk about first, but yeah, we're going to talk about all of it probably. But yeah. I have a huge issue with creep being used in movies because
you're a gatekeeper.
It's just such a trope. It's like, and I'm not saying it for this movie because I actually liked it in this movie, but when I think I had heard creep was used in it or something, I was just like, okay, I rolled my eyes. I was like, creep. It's just such a stereotypical trope to use that in a movie. The weird character.
I don't know if I've ever heard creep used in a movie, honestly.
I mean, it's been a long time since the movies used it, but it was such a trope 2010s. It's there's a scene in a school where a kid gets bullied and then he walks on the bus and creep starts playing. Get it? He's such a weirdo.
He's a creep.
It's just
what the heck is he doing here?
It was just very overdone. It's a very obvious choice for a certain kind of scene. But in this movie, they used the acoustic version, which I don't think I'd even really heard.
Yeah, me neither.
And
we're bad Radiohead fans.
It would have annoyed me if it was the normal version, but the acoustic version just worked way better.
Yeah,
I was cool with it. I was like, okay, they're using a version I've never really heard get used in a movie.
I wonder what that's from.
It was just I looked it up on Spotify and it was just its own single, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Just some random thing from back in the day, but. But I like it too because it's when the title drop happens and he's singing the high note and he's he's way off pitch.
Yeah.
It's like a super flat.
It's rock and roll,
yeah,
man.
but it's like cool, you know.
Yeah.
I thought that was really neat that they used that version because it's not.
You
it's
played
not
that
perfect.
note off key and it was cool.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I wonder how Radiohead feels about it.
I mean,
obviously,
Tom York hates that song now.
Well,
so.
yeah, that's the thing. That's why I wonder how they feel about it.
I mean, he
Especially
probably
since
likes
it's a
that
different
version more. I'm sure. But
Yeah.
I just think like he thinks the writing is like cringy on it, it just was so popular. But I mean, they still play for fans because I know fans like it. So it's not like they refuse to play it, but he just doesn't really like it.
And they wrote a song about how much they hate it.
Yeah,
An Iron Lung. I think it's so funny.
But yeah,
you can listen to our Radiohead episode right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie's. It's like, I mean, I like all the Guardians movies. I think one is great, but it's the most MCU feeling of them all. But it's still really good. It just has a super weak villain, but it's still like awesome.
Yeah, it was a great setup for all these characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing is like at the time, like Guardians of the Galaxy,
it was
like
super refreshing at the time. And
yeah,
I still think it's good.
Changed like the whole course, I feel like, of the MCU.
Yeah,
because like before that, the Marvel movies didn't really, they didn't really balance comedy that well.
Yeah,
with drama and like the weird and bizarre. And
it was trying to be more visually interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you had like Iron Man. He was always like kind of the comedic relief.
Yeah.
But after Guardians, I feel like the MCU all of a sudden became a lot more comfortable with like, having more comedy in their scripts and like being okay with the weird and wacky and such.
Yeah, getting a little more colorful visually because a lot of Phase 1 Marvel is like that Xbox 360 Call of Duty gray look, just like very like just kind of bland looking, like very plain looking, I should say, not bland, because like it's not like the movies looked bad, but that one was kind of like where it started to lean more into the visually creative, especially with like more alien races and like space Star Warsy stuff, and then
talking raccoons.
Yeah, it's like getting like weird and making you care about weird stuff like that, which was kind of a staple of Marvel early on, where it's like no one cares about Iron Man, and then they made Iron Man and everyone loved him, and then Guardians, like no one knew what Guardians of the Galaxy was. That was like another, and I feel like that's something Marvel is kind of bad at now, is like taking obscure characters and making them like loved. Like I don't think they really know how to do that like they used to.
We could talk about the state of the MCU.
Yeah, it's horrible. But Guardians 1 was like another really good example of like no one's heard of these characters before, but it just looks like a good movie, and it ended up being awesome. And now it's like Guardians are pretty popular. They had a whole like AAA video game recently. It's like they like became like really popular, and it was really successful. And then I liked Volume 2 a lot more. I feel like a lot of people didn't. I feel like some people liked it a little less.
The first time I watched it, I was like, this is not good. And then I watched it again, and I'm like, I like this a lot more for some reason.
I think it's great. It was my favorite MCU movie probably for a while, and maybe 3. It's kind of tied with 3 probably. I might like 3 more, but I just thought it was awesome. I liked that an MCU movie was just like it had like a theme that wasn't just a weaker version of like with great power comes great responsibility or revenge is bad, or there's like a fly over here and it's bugging me.
He just loves you.
Yeah, but that one was like this theme of like parenthood, and it's like right from the beginning of Volume 2. It's like with Groot, it's like, the dancing Groot thing is kind of like dorky, but it's like all the characters are like having their little like their father mother like parenting moment with him.
Yeah,
and
they
then
always have
stuff
the
about
best
his
like
dad.
opening credits sequences.
Yeah, but that movie was just very thematically strong, and then obviously the stuff with like Peter's dad, and it ties back to his mom, and then just like there's like family is just like this core theme of it, and then like the whole arc with Yondu about being his real father. It's just it was just like a very for an MC. It's not like the most deep, crazy, mind-bending thing ever, but just for a movie like that, I remember being really impressed with how much it stuck to a really strong theme and used that like throughout all of the characters in the movie, and it was just like cool. And Jeff Bridges was like a really fun villain, and it got a little like too wacky. Jeff Bridges. Why did I say
Jeff Bridges? It's Kurt Russell.
Yeah, why did I say Jeff Bridges? What the heck?
They're two old men with beards.
Yeah,
that's why.
That was weird. I think I saw something with him
Jeff
recently.
Bridges was the bad guy in the first Iron Man.
Yeah, I think that's why I thought that, I think. Yeah, Kurt Russell, wow. But yeah, Kurt Russell, he was like awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't comic accurate at all, apparently. I don't know anything about that character, but I didn't care.
I mean,
because I thought it worked really well for that movie.
Right,
you know?
yeah, because like Peter is like this, he's like super into like rock and roll and such. And like Kurt Russell is just like the perfect image of what I guess he would want his dad to look like, I guess.
And then you have Nebula kind of showing up again, and there's the whole drama with her and her sister, and like the continued theme of family and parenthood with like their whole deal with Thanos and stuff.
Family.
But yeah, I liked Volume 2 a lot, and when Volume 3 got announced, I wasn't really worried for it or anything because James Gunn was still writing and directing it, but it was like in the midst of just not caring about MCU like at all anymore. Like I thought Ant-Man 3 was horrible.
Well, yeah, and I haven't seen it, but Thor: Love and Thunder was a huge letdown for a lot of people.
I think it's legitimately the worst MCU movie.
Yeah.
I like really don't like Love and Thunder
I
at all.
I didn't even waste my time with it.
Yeah, I thought it was like
nobody likes it,
which I was sad because I like Ragnarok a lot.
Yeah,
but
that's
Love
like
and Thunder,
one of the better
it was
ones.
just really bad and like borderline insensitive.
But it's okay. It's all the CGI artists' fault.
Yeah,
that's why it's bad.
Definitely not the
That's
writer.
what Taika Waititi said. He blamed everything on his CGI animators.
If only it looked better, the writing would have just been good. But yeah, and the Guardians were like in that movie for like a minute. It was like whatever.
Yeah, that was a big letdown because I was excited for it because I was expecting a Thor and Guardians team up.
Yeah,
that's kind of how they built it up.
I'm glad they weren't in it because then the Guardians would have been like a really horrible movie. So at the end of the day, I guess I'm glad they weren't really involved in the story that much. But,
James Gunn was like, "Get my characters out of there."
Yeah, but yeah, Volume 3. I thought the trailer looked great, and it's the most James Gunn feeling of the three for sure. Like each movie you can see his style evolving a lot, especially like compared to Suicide Squad recently. Like visually, it kind of has a very similar style. But I really liked Volume 3. I was really, really surprised how emotional it was. And so, I mean, to an extent, sometimes it's like it's kind of an easy jab, like with animal abuse stuff. It's really easy to get you. Like, I'm not going to say it's super smart and nuanced. Like, it basically beats you over the head until you are sad. But it works. Like, it's still. I thought it was like well written and stuff, and it made Rocket a really awesome character. And
we finally got some backstory with Rocket.
And I really liked. I don't know why, but like Rocket and like I thought Nebula was like a really cool character in it, which I never really cared about her before, but I was like, she was kind of awesome in that movie.
They've done a lot more with her than I really
She ended up being like one of my favorites in the movie. I don't know why, but there's the whole thing with Endgame too, where it's like you really like with her and Rocket basically being the only Guardians left, so they were together for like 5 years without everyone else during Endgame. So it's like that's why they're like a lot closer friends in this one, and it's like I kind of hate that they have to write around all the stuff that happened in Endgame, because I would like a trilogy that can be completely within itself. But I think they used it really well, and I think how they wrote Gamora and her character arc in the end, I like that they didn't really take the easy way and just made her get back with Peter, and she gets her memories back. Whoa, like no, they do something really interesting with her, and I feel like Nebula had not as good or anything, but I think she's like the Zuko of those movies.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, which I think is super cool. I love character arcs like that where it's like
her and Zuko could totally date.
Yeah, but
I ship it.
Yeah, but no, it's really good. It has a decently compelling villain with like an interesting cause, and like it gets weirdly violent and kind of grotesque at times.
I love it when they Marvel has had some bad villains, but has also had some really great villains.
Yeah,
I think
they've had
this
a couple
guy,
good.
I can't remember his name, but he kind of like is like there with Thanos when they make a villain that has an understandable agenda.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to make a perfect world where there's no problems, there's no imperfections or anything. It's like, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But he's like...
obviously a psycho.
Right,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. So he's still a villain, and it's like, no, what you're doing is messed up.
Yeah, but it's like you get what he's doing. It's not just like, when I was young, my father was killed, and now I want to just kill all life in the universe. Just has it's like a crazy person with a god complex and the ability to actually create worlds and stuff, and that's really interesting. And like, he actually does things that cause huge consequences. Like that whole world, like Earth, whatever they called it. Yeah, I forget. The animal people the animal people world, that's basically world. Just Earth. Yeah. and you go there and you see it, and they go in someone's house and you see pictures of like kids and families, and they establish it's like a completely civilized world. It's basically a copy of Earth, and it just everyone dies on it. He blows the whole thing up.
It's not good enough.
Like all those kids, like it's pretty crazy. It's like, wow, they really like just actually blew up a whole world full of people and didn't reverse it somehow in the end by having... No, they're just like, he raised this entire planet and then just destroyed it all. And it's kind of cool, like, that they have him actually be that threatening and do something like that. Because a lot of villains, like, they imply that they can do crazy things, but you don't really see it a lot. In this one, it's like, no, he's like evil.
Yeah, because it would be one thing for him to, like, say all that he's like evil, but like they actually show it. Yeah. And it's like, oh,
and then obviously the context with him.
You, man.
Yeah. Like they make him evil on a grand scale, and then they make him more evil on a personal scale, because then you see all the stuff he did with Rocket and all the animal experimentation, which, you know, again, I get why people think it's overboard, because it is like a beat you, and it's not subtle in any way. Like, it's very, like, we get what the point of the movie is, you know, about like Gunn, animal testing. It's like super obvious, it's not subtle, but it works. Yeah, because I mean,
it's effective.
Because it works because that's always been an implication of Rocket's backstory in the previous movies too. Like, they'll kind of show like all the weird stuff on his back, and there's always an implication of him basically being tortured into what he is, and him always being sensitive about being a raccoon or whatever, you know, like, so I think that's why it works, despite it being very on the nose, because this conflict with his past life doesn't just come out of nowhere. Like, you can always tell it was there, right? And it was always implicated. So I think it's just really smart how they built upon that, and I kind of like that it was very Rocket focused, but everyone generally gets a good amount of stuff to do, even if some elements are kind of wrapped up weirdly fast in the end. Yeah, that's like my only problem is the movie. It's just like, all right, everyone, quick, get their arcs, and quick, they all have to disband.
Especially for what's her name, the
Mantis.
Yeah,
she just kind of leaves.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I feel like that I need to be somewhere else. Like, oh, this wasn't really built up at all.
A lot of the act of them like breaking up in the end, like the team disbanding,
it was more of an obligation.
I like that, but you can tell he was like, I need to make this happen so that they don't do a fourth one. Right. And if they do a fourth one, it'll just be with this other team that's not most of the original people. Because like that post-credit scene with like Rocket and the new gang, it's like, I don't think they would make a movie with them and call it Guardians 4, but if they did, I would probably still watch it, honestly.
Yeah, I would see it just to...
Because I think like Sean Gunn is funny, and I like the Adam Warlock. I thought he was fun in the movie. I know people were probably salty that he wasn't like comic accurate, but I thought his role in the story was really kind of fun.
See, that's the thing, is that I'm not a comic book person.
Yeah, I just don't care.
I don't care. I thought it was so funny.
I never care about comic accuracy, because I mean, the Raimi Spider-Man movies take a lot of liberties, and those are my favorites. It's like I don't really care. I don't really care if I just want a good movie, you know.
Yeah, and I just love Will Poulter. I'm glad that he's doing more stuff.
Yeah,
but
he was really funny in it.
Yeah, just him being like this big beefy guy, and like kind of built up as, but he's an idiot.
Yeah,
you know,
he's like literally he's like a newborn basically in a man's body. Like he's just doesn't know, he's dumb.
Yeah,
it's cool though, but he's still really powerful. Like the whole driving force of the movie is like they have to save Rocket, and it's because of him. So it's not like he didn't have any critical role in like what happens. But
right,
and I like that the movie is mostly just like about them trying to save Rocket. Like you have that literal end of the world situation, but that's like kind of disconnected because it is kind of like a manufactured world in a way.
That's
so
what
it's
I
not
like
like
about it.
It's not like real Earth, but the main issue of the story is them just trying to like save their friend, and I think that's
I like
cool.
that. It's very small scale in a way. It's not like saving the whole universe or anything.
Yeah,
it's just we gotta go save our friend. You know.
I also I like playlist movies when they're done well, and all of the Guardians movies are playlist movies.
Yeah,
where it's just like he's like, here's my Spotify playlist.
It's like gotten to the point where it's like when you name a song, people are like, oh yeah, they're from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
it's like but okay, whatever.
And I compare it to something like Thor: Love and Thunder, which just has like a bunch of Guns N' Roses songs play, like only Guns N' Roses, not just 70s or 80s.
Only
it's like
Guns
just
N'
Guns N' Roses. It's like all of their songs that would be on their top 5 on like most played on Spotify. It's like all the ones everyone knows. It's not integrated in an interesting way. They just did it because they thought it looked cool. But in the Guardians movies, it's like it's integrated because Peter has his like tape from his mom, so it's like the music you're hearing in the movie is what the characters are actually listening to.
Right.
It has a personal connection to the characters. When you get more, you get a sequel. So oh no, you can't have 100 songs on one tape. So they have a way for him to get more. He gets he finds out he has a second tape in the second movie, and this one it's because like they found like a Zune. Which I still think that's a really funny joke. Is he's like, oh, it's like a MP3 player, and you think it's gonna be an iPod, like an Apple product placement, but it's a Zune, which doesn't even get made anymore. So I'm like, that's funny, and that's a clever way for them to have like 80s, 90s later music,
right?
like actually be there.
You know what? We need the Zune version of the BlackBerry movie.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I don't know the story behind that. That would be interesting. Anyways,
but yeah, I like that. It's like, yeah, the characters are listening to this music. Sometimes they're singing along with it. It's just it's put in the movie in a really fun way, and it always like fits the tone, and like it never feels corny or forced to me. I'm like, it makes me think of like the feeling I get with certain playlist movies, like Beach Bum is like a prestige playlist movie to me, because it's like I basically watch it just for the music half the time. I just like vibing out with the music, and I think the Guardians movies pull off that feeling where it's just really, it's just fun to like,
but it's
like it like so much personality comes from the music.
And it's integrated well into what's going on. Yeah, like the whole hallway fight scene that they have. You know, it's great. Oh, there's I was kind of surprised by my reaction to the movie. I was like, I think I love this.
Yeah, I expected to think it was really good. Maybe not as good as 2, but I was like, man, there's a lot of good sets.
Yeah,
like, it didn't feel like they're always on a green screen.
James Gunn went all out on the set design.
Action sequences were creative and shot. It's filmed well.
Flesh spaceship, whatever.
Yeah, it's just creative.
It's so weird.
All the weird costumes, like actual costumes, good makeup,
like with their different colors.
It just felt like a movie, you know. Yeah. Like it sounds pretentious to put it that way, but you know, it felt just creative and interesting, and like it didn't feel like lazy or just.
It didn't feel like most of what Marvel has been spitting out since Endgame. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's been a few gems, like WandaVision had its moments for sure and kind of spattered out weekly. It wasn't really a great ending. Moon Knight has some interesting moments.
Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, yeah. We're kind of like in the minority.
I didn't love it, but I like it.
Yeah, but we're like in the minority when it comes to liking that movie.
Which is weird to me. It's because it wasn't The Flash. It didn't have... Isn't it have
too
Iron
dark.
Man show up
Well,
again or something?
There's
or...
also I understand the criticisms about the. See, I don't know if you ever watched WandaVision, but the character.
Oh yeah, that I get because it's confirmed like when they made that movie, WandaVision wasn't finished yet, so they couldn't even like see how it ended.
Yeah, so that's one thing a lot of people complain about was that her character arc was like completely different. But
yeah,
whatever.
And I didn't finish WandaVision, so I guess I didn't really like care as much. But I can definitely understand that because I know people really liked WandaVision.
Yeah,
I can see that being a little weird and frustrating. But that's
90%
more like
of it.
the company's fault than like the people making the movies.
Yeah,
because they're like, well, it's not finished, but just make it anyways.
Yeah, it's just like, and the MCU is at this point, and I don't know, it's weird for me to talk about this because it's not like that I'm you guys know us, we're not like the biggest like Marvel nerds or anything. We're more just kind of like casual fans, I feel like.
Yeah, I try not to be like a hater on it because I'm like, it's like being like Marvel's anti-cinema and like they're all bad is like kind of annoying.
But no, there's a lot of good.
There's a lot of good MCU movies.
It's just that like lately, and I don't know if you ever saw the video that Eddie Burback did recently with his brother.
The multiverse thing.
Yeah, I agree. It's true. Like it just seems they just seem tired.
Yeah,
and this Guardians 3 seems like it's like the perfect.
It was my
like
end game
farewell, pretty much. Yeah,
it was like my.
It's the end of an era.
Yeah, it was my second end game because Endgame was like the ending for like the MCU in general.
Yeah.
And this one was like it's more contained to like the Guardians movie specifically.
Yeah, it's like this is how the Guardians end.
Yeah,
right
and it's
here.
like it's how this last facet of the MCU that I really liked how that ends, and now that's done. So it kind of genuinely feels like maybe the last MCU movie I would ever like genuinely care about, unless they really like just have a creative breakthrough and start making really refreshing stuff again and totally just change it up. But
I can't really think of anything that
like nothing's interesting me. Like they were trying to like hype up that Secret Invasion show, and then there's like the Marvels, and it's like all this.
It
news,
all looks bad.
No news I'm hearing like excites me. I'm like I just don't care.
I would probably see I would be curious to see where Spider-Man goes from here.
That's the only thing I'm still curious about, but I'm nervous about it.
Yeah. I mean, like, No Way Home. It's not perfect, but it's a lot of fun.
It did its job. It was. It didn't make me mad.
Yeah.
With how it handled like Toby and like all that guy was like, oh yeah, it was like really it was fun. Like I had a good time
and Andrew
watching
Garfield.
It.
They like made Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man like good.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he was always good as Spider-Man. It's just his movies sucked, and I liked that he got to be in something where people were like, "Oh yeah, he was actually like a good Spider-Man." You know?
And they kind of like brought some redemption to him. And they kind of like, I know. Sorry, we're talking about No Way Home all of a sudden, but like I like how they kind of addressed it in a way, and I think this is actually kind of related to Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Where they like kind of hinted that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was like the lesser Spider-Man, but they brought redemption to him in a way. And cool. I think there's a lot of that also. We were talking earlier about how like we wish how Guardians was kind of more contained and like they still had to like address some things involved in Endgame. But there's like that one moment where it kind of seems like James Gunn is like passive aggressively like complaining about it in the script where Peter just kind of like goes off like kind of giving a whole lot of exposition.
It's like, this happened and this happened and it's really crazy. It's like
I don't know why that happened. Someone explained that to me, but anyways, it did. So
he just really put it like they condensed it all basically into like that one line.
Yeah,
and they obviously have to address it a lot of the whole stuff with Gamora with her directly when it's relevant to her character, but they don't really mention any of the external stuff except for that one part, and it's basically to kind of make fun of the fact that they have to write around it.
Yeah,
and they totally do, because I was worried like Gamora coming back was going to be annoying, and they were just going to like not stick with what happened in Endgame, and they're just gonna like, oh, she got a magic thing that gave her memories back, and she's the exact same person. But no, she doesn't end up with Peter. She goes off somewhere else, and Peter retires and goes back home, and like sees his goes back to his family. And even though I think the ending felt a little rushed and weird, I do think like what the characters actually do is like,
I think with Peter it was perfect. You know?
I really like. There's like a minor line, but it's like I like the whole thing about Drax. It's like you weren't meant to be a warrior, you were meant to be a dad. Yeah, and I thought that was really sweet because there's always the story of his family, and even in Guardians 2, like he's a very goofy, kind of stupid character, but when he has stuff about his family, it is always genuinely very sweet, and I like that. That was the arc of his character. Is like you're like such a father figure. That's what you're meant to do. Yeah, you know, and I like that. I don't know, whatever. Groot didn't really do it much.
He is Groot. He was Groot. Well, he said something that wasn't.
Oh, he did. Groot. Yeah, he did say, "I love you guys."
Yeah,
I knew they were going to do character. I knew they were going to do something like that. So I like that. Rocket, obviously, he was the whole like point of the movie. Mantis, I mean, she was fine. I like her, but she didn't really have like an that interesting of an arc. She just kind of like leaves, which is fine.
That's the only problem that I think
it's fitting because like her whole life was basically being a slave to the guy in Volume 2. So this is her like, I'm going to go out on my own now. Like I just wish
they fleshed that out better.
I agree.
In the movie.
I think the bullet point of it is cool, but she didn't really get a lot of screen time.
Yeah, I didn't mind all the other characters like wrap ups. Really, I thought that Peter's was perfect.
Peter's was great.
I like Drax and all of them. It was just Mantis that
hers
I had
is the weakest
main issue with,
sure.
But. And the only other issue that I also had with the movie, if we're talking about negatives, was just like the whole. I mean, it's only a nitpick, but like the whole climax with like, there's the whole like space fight, and like it just kind of is a little bit much.
It got a little visually barfy for a bit.
Yeah, that's really the only issue.
But and then like Nebula is like the whole leader of nowhere, kind of like she kind of heads all of that, and she becomes kind of responsible for all of it. And
that's cool.
I think that's really cool because she spent her whole life like basically being tortured by her dad and being like compared to Gamora and just all of that, and the fact she kind of gets to become a leader and make I ended up just really liking Nebula. Yeah, I was like, dang, I really like Nebula as a character now, which is weird,
same.
and. Yeah, and I just liked it. There's a lot of good moments, like when she figures out Rocket's alive and she starts crying. I was like, oh, I was like, I'm feeling emotions from this movie. It's cool.
Yeah. Also, the moment where they got some. Chris Pratt had some really good moments.
He was good in it. Yeah,
like he's easy to make fun of because of some of the roles that he picks these days, but he's a good actor. And like the moment where like
when he's like
almost
screaming,
when he's like almost about to lose Rocket, it's like. Dang, man.
Yeah, like, he was really good.
He's like acting really well for like a CGI character,
And then Rocket goes to the place that Harry went to in the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
I was thinking the same thing too.
It's like the exact same thing.
They like see the fetus Voldemort.
Yeah.
Like, who's that guy?
But yeah, I was...
He's kind of a weirdo.
And like... Dog Days Are Over is like the most obvious choice for a Florence and the Machine song, but I loved that ending. I loved that.
I kind of did too.
I thought it was like, okay, it's a really obvious choice for an early 2000s song, but I thought it was so nice. Like I loved that it just ends with a dance party and like everyone's like just happy and it's nice.
In any other movie that would be completely corny and cheesy, but it was really nice somehow in this movie.
It works because one, it's like a new era of music. It's like a new era for like, oh, you have 2000s music now. There's that whole thing. It's a new era of music. It's a new era for all of these characters, and music's always been really important to all of them. And they've like shown like them listening to music in Nowhere before, and the fact that they went through all of that and they just like blast that song and they all like sing it and dance. It just sounds like really nice.
Yeah,
it just worked really well, and I love like, how. Yeah, it just makes me think of it's great. I mean, if music wasn't important to the movies and that happened out of nowhere, it would be really dumb.
Right?
It'd just be like, what? Why are they? Like,
and it's usually kind of a trope,
like a Illumination animated movie ending.
Yeah, exactly. Like every family animated movie has to end with a dance off, or whatever. But like,
I was like,
works.
dang, I want to like listen to this song now, and now when
It's
I
like,
listen to that
this is
song, I kind of
this
think of
is-
that scene.
Yeah,
and
it's actual like characters like celebrating.
yeah.
You know,
It was just cool.
It's not
and,
like
and I like that the
some
movie
weird
just
Shakira
ends on
concert.
it. Like it just ends like right as the song ends, basically.
Yeah.
It's just cool. And yeah, there's some problems like with the movie, like it definitely delves into a little too much visual language with some of the action in the climax. It kind of has weird pacing, wrapping it up, but I'm really impressed with the structure of it and how every character kind of felt pretty important.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was going to feel like all about Peter again or whatever, but I think making it mostly about Rocket.
Yeah, it's kind of a Rocket movie.
Yeah, which I think is cool.
But
and,
it is pretty balanced between Rocket and Peter, I feel like. You have the
no one
characters.
feels like super cast aside, really, maybe
Right.
except for like I don't really care about Groot's character arc, honestly.
Well, I mean, Groot is Groot.
Yeah,
so.
it's like I don't need Groot to have a deep character arc, honestly.
Yeah,
And like
no one
Mantis
does.
maybe was the weakest, but I still think her dynamic like was really good.
Yeah. I mean, especially her and Drax working together. They're a great pair. So,
But yeah, just solid. I was just impressed, and it makes me a little bummed that James Gunn won't do another Marvel movie, but I'm glad he got to finish his trilogy because he always wanted to do that. And
he's got bigger fish to fry.
And I'm curious. I hope his endeavors in DC go well, because I would like to imagine that because I mean they just announced like all the new actor for like Superman and stuff, and he's writing and directing the new Superman.
Wait, they announced
movie.
the actor?
Yeah,
Who is it?
I don't know. I've never heard of him before.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's cool. They get a no name.
Let me look.
At least it's not like.
And they
not
announced
Chris
the girl
Pratt.
was playing Lois too, and I didn't recognize her from anything that she's been in either. But
Cool.
yeah, I can't remember.
I'm
It's
down for that.
something. He kind of just looks like a younger Henry Cavill. Honestly, he looks good for the role. For
I guess
sure.
Henry Cavill was kind of a no name before Man of Steel.
That's
but-
that's what I'm thinking. So I'm
but
like, I'm glad
still,
it's not
yeah.
like we're casting like Nicholas Holt, 'cause I know, or whatever. But I
gosh.
like that they're, because he was in the running for it apparently. But
Oh.
I'm glad that they're just, he seems to be casting people that he really believes fit the role, and he's not just looking for a big name.
Yeah.
And
He's really good at that too, because like before Guardians of the Galaxy. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you,
it's
but
fine.
Before Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt was just the guy from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And then, but James Gunn was like, "You're going to be an action star now."
Yeah, he's a good choice.
And like Chris Pratt's career has changed ever since then.
Yeah.
And then like James Gunn was somehow able to find actually two like WE wrestler guys,
Yeah.
and make them good actors,
Yeah,
like
and,
John Cena in the Suicide Squad, and Drax, what's his name?
Why am I forgetting his name?
He was in your favorite movie, Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah, why am I forgetting his Dave Bautista?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Bautista. And yeah, Dave Bautista is like he was in Blade Runner as well, and he's had a
true.
pretty good career since, and he's really good. He's amazing in Knock at the Cabin. He's really good as Drax. Yeah, he's an awesome actor.
And I would never have thought that John Cena could be a good actor.
And I find it kind of funny that the actual familiar faces that you would recognize based like off them, like their faces, are the ones playing CGI characters.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper and
yeah,
Vin
shout out
Diesel.
to Bradley Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
Bradley
great
Cooper as
Rocket.
Rocket's awesome.
Yeah.
But
Vin Diesel is Vin Diesel.
I don't think I've ever seen Bradley Cooper at like an event in person for any of these movies. Why do I
Yeah.
feel like I've never seen him? Like I'm like
I don't know. I mean, I've never like really looked at like the red
I
carpet
never see him at press
pictures.
events. I'm like, maybe they don't want people to know
true.
it's Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, maybe it's like kind of like
I don't really think
Stealing
of
the
Bradley
illusion.
Cooper when I like hear his performance though. I mean, it is kind of just his voice, but it's not like, oh, that's obviously Bradley
it's his
Cooper.
voice, but a little bit more gruff and more
Yeah.
of kind of like an accent or whatever.
It's not like distractingly
like a New Jersey
recognizable
accent
to
or
me.
whatever. A New Jersey space,
Or
space
whatever.
New Jersey,
Space New Jersey.
accent. But yeah, James Gunn. I think after this, I think his absence is really going to be felt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already kind of being felt, but
I'm
even
kind of
more
surprised
so.
they even let him still just make the movie he wanted.
Well, I mean, like it was a good idea because like
yeah.
it's their
I mean, they kind of let Sam Raimi be a little creative with Doctor Strange.
Well, James Gunn was able to prove himself.
Yeah.
He's like, I think it was back in the day where Marvel was less controlling about their look, I guess. I don't know. But like,
this is weird. Like they were like, yeah, we'll let Sam Raimi kind of do a bunch of Sam Raimi-isms and make a weird movie, and then we'll let James Gunn do this. But then everything else just feels really like homogenized.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
I really don't think they care.
Yeah,
anymore, really,
it's really bizarre. But I don't know.
I think like we could potentially be entering in a universe where DC overtakes Marvel.
Probably
like, starts to do better than Marvel.
I mean, if this Superman Legacy movie does really well, like, you could be heading in that direction. I think just rebooting all that is a really good idea, and I hope it turns out well, because I think James Gunn is really good at superhero stuff. I do hope that the Superman movie isn't like the tone of a Guardians movie. Like, I don't want Superman to be like overly comedic and like,
right? Yeah,
you know, I think Superman needs to be kind of like dorky Boy Scout tones.
Yeah,
you know, like I like, you know, you can have a lighthearted humor to it, but I hope it's not like crude. Like
that's why I don't.
There has to be this. I feel like Superman is best when it's kind of like more of this pure like Boy Scout attitude. I don't really know, like just I don't know. I saw a clip. I haven't watched a show because I doubt it's really that good, but there's elements that do seem good. That Superman and Lois show.
That's got Jack Quaid.
Yeah, like
Spider-Man.
there was the
Superman.
There's like a clip of that Superman where he's in like the dorky outfit, and it's like a flashback. And
I want to watch.
And someone's like, "Nice costume." He's like, "Thanks, my mom made it for me." And there's like another scene where he figures out like some guy like pushed or like harassed like Lois and his son or something, and he goes as Clark to this restaurant, and he like approaches the guy and like stands up to him, and it's this very like heroic dad kind of attitude, and it's like really cool. And I'm like, I kind of like that tone. I don't want him to be edgy and be like, "Oh, my power is such a burden upon me. I'm viewed as a deity by all these humans.
I am a god,
like,
but I don't want to be."
Like, I thought Henry Cavill was like a good choice for Superman, but
he's good casting. He just wasn't written well.
I just don't like the angsty, like, what if Superman was real? Like, I don't need to see Fox and CNN debates over Superman in movies. Like, I don't want to know what it's like if he was real. You know,
our friend Matt Cotton is fuming right now.
I bet
he's a big Snyder, Henry Cavill.
I respect Snyder, because he definitely did what he wanted. I respect the Snyder cut a lot, honestly.
But you just don't like it.
I just don't like it. But I respect that it exists. You know, I do think it's cool that got to happen.
I'm just glad that it's over.
It's way better than the Justice League one.
Well, but still not.
But I don't like it. But I respect it. I get why people were into it. But it's just not what I want. And I'm more excited for this.
Yeah, I'm very positively curious.
We had so many years of like those Zack Snyder toned DC movies.
It was a long time.
Man of Steel was like a long time ago at this point, you know, and then Batman. Like, we had a long time with those, like a fresh slate.
It's time to die.
I'm cool with it. I don't want. I think passing the mantle should happen like every 5 years with characters like this.
Sure,
maybe within 10.
Yeah, like give them time in between.
Like, as much as I loved like the Tobey Maguire movies, I don't want 50 Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
You don't want
Like, just make a good trilogy and move it on. Let another actor do it.
You don't want Spider-Man 4?
No, they would not do it well today. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't trust a modern Sony Marvel to make a good Spider-Man 4.
Yeah,
I think it would be horrible.
Yeah,
because it would be like the people who make Venom, you know.
And
I feel like if Sam Raimi, I just feel like it would be a CGI
Spider-Mans.
fest and like not be great. I don't know. Those are of its time, and I'm happy with that trilogy. I don't need more.
Yeah,
I'm satisfied with it.
Yeah,
it would have been cool if we got it back then, but we don't have it now, so I don't need it now.
It's too late.
It is too late.
It's gone.
But yeah, Marvel.
Marvel, yeah. Well, Guardians 3, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I even said in my review on Letterboxd, I was like, it probably doesn't deserve this, but I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
I think it does.
I think it does now too, but I was just like, this is a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't deserve to be an 8. I don't think I've I don't think I've rated any of the MCU movies an 8 out of 10. Maybe Infinity War.
I probably have like 3 or 4 at max that would have been rated around that when I did ratings. But
yeah, back in the day. But no, yeah, 8
Guardians 2, 3.
I need to rewatch the first 2.
Yeah, Infinity
see
War
how
probably.
I feel about them.
I don't know. Maybe that is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe Iron Man 3. I think that movie's overhated.
I saw that once in theaters.
I think it's good. That movie was very like ostracized at the time because it was so different. But I think today's environment of how people are with the MCU stuff, I think.
Yeah, because that was pre-Guardians.
Because that's a very like Shane Black movie, you know, and that was kind of like way before like stuff like the James Gunn or like Taika Waititi, like Ragnarok, where it was like a director made this. And like Iron Man 3 is a very like Shane Black movie. It's very like it's way more like character Tony Stark focused than Iron Man. I remember
the climax.
The ending sucks.
Yeah, with like Gwyneth Paltrow being all the Human Torch.
The ending fight is dumb and overboard, but I think that's a pretty cool movie.
I do remember it being funny and like Tony being like specifically very snarky.
Yeah,
and I loved it.
I'd have to rewatch it. I just remember always liking it, and I was really surprised that people like hated it. You know?
Yeah, but yeah, I love all the Guardians movies. I like most of the Avengers movies except for Age of Ultron. I don't know about anything else, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not really strong on anything else, but, you know.
Yeah, and I saw Endgame in theaters, and I never want to watch it again because my experience in the theater with it was just, like, it was really good.
Top tier.
And I was just like, all right, I had a really good time with it.
And I'm
scared to rewatch it because I don't want to like it less than what I remembered. You know, like
right.
I kind of just want my theater experience with it to just be that.
Sure.
Because I was like, it was very satisfying. Like, all right, I'm done with those people. That those story.
People. I do miss Robert Downey Jr. though.
Yeah, I'm glad that he can be in movies like Oppenheimer now, though, and he doesn't have to be in every.
Yeah,
and that he doesn't have to cameo in every Marvel movie all the time.
I don't think he's been in a movie in forever.
Well, he was in a Dr. Dolittle.
Oh yeah, but I think he like took a break. After that,
definitely.
So, never saw it, but I heard it was amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Anyways, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wow, that was a long pee break.
Yeah, it sure was. We are here on the same night.
Yeah.
Only minutes later, and not 2 weeks later. Or
I left to go to the bathroom, and Mitchell went to go to the bathroom. I left to go to a festival.
Just real quick, like 5 minutes.
I got sick. And then I went to a festival, and then you got sick too.
Yeah, I had a really, really awful migraine yesterday, and I just wanted to go home and sleep.
What are you talking about yesterday? You mean today?
Yeah, I mean today.
Right, yeah.
When I was peeing.
And then I came back, and then Mitchell was still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And now we're back.
Potty break.
It was very busy, 5 minutes.
Yeah. Also, we relocated to my living room. I'm sure it sounds different somehow.
Probably.
It actually might, because I feel like
those with a keen ear might notice.
The acoustics aren't amazing in the little room.
Yeah, maybe it's better out here.
I figured, like, hey, since we're recording on my laptop this time, like, we could just move it and just be comfortable in the couch together.
True.
So me and Mitchell are cuddling right now on the couch.
Darn right.
So, yeah. Anyways, we are going to continue our talk about superhero movies.
Yeah. We just finished minutes ago talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And keeping on theme with superhero movies, we found it appropriate. We both went and saw Into the Spider-Verse recently.
Across the Spider-Verse.
You and me,
we're the same. In the important ways, you know?
In every other universe, Gwen Stacy falls for Spider-Man. And in every other universe, it doesn't end well.
Well, it's the first time for everything, right?
Oh, wait, yeah. Oh my, I hate these names, man. Look, I love this movie, but I hate the naming conventions of like any Spider-Man movie right now.
Yeah,
No Way
that is
Home,
kind of
Homecoming,
a
Far From
common
Home.
theme, yeah.
I mix up the MCU movies. I never remember. It's like Far From No Way Home, and then this one it's like Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, and Beyond. And
yeah,
it's just hard. It's hard to remember. I'm stupid.
Yeah, especially for like No Way Home and Far From Home.
It's like a fun idea, but it's just I don't know.
It's confusing.
I never got the point of the MCU movies having like home in every title. It's like I like the idea of having a quirky naming convention, but
I think it just started with the first one where they just called it Homecoming because that's like a high school.
That was like
reference 'cause
appropriate.
he's in high school,
and then Far From Home because he's not in New York.
Yeah,
and then No Way Home because they can't get home.
He's lost. Yeah.
I was like, just call it Spider-Man 2 No Way Home or Spider-Man 3 No Way Home, you know? I don't know.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Like, you can still have
Amazing
a number.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man into Spider-Man 2.
But they just got to have their own
across
identity.
The Spider-Verse, yeah.
This is a kind of related. This is kind of a random thing, but there's something that I realized recently. Remember that video that you and I did for my channel where we watched those Christian music videos?
Yeah.
There was a one that we watched from a band called FFH, and we made fun of the fact of like I was like, I don't remember what that stands for, and you made a Far From Home joke, referencing Spider-Man. I found out recently that actually is what it stands for.
Really?
Yeah.
That's super weird.
It's Far From Home.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure Mitchell made that joke, and but you were unintentionally right.
Wow, that's wild.
So, yeah. Anyways,
I'm so smart.
Yeah. No, you're just a nerd.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, so Spider-Man Across the Universe. No, that's a different
Across
movie,
the
actually.
Universe.
That's a Beatles song and
one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah, I remember we watched that
Across
together.
the Universe is one of the most insane movies ever made.
I will say that it kind of got me into the Beatles.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really familiar with their music as much, and then when I heard their songs, I was like, I actually like this.
Yeah.
So
no, yeah. I mean, the music's like fine. It's just like an insane. It
goes all over the place.
I remember I was watching it with some people like a year or so ago, and we were watching over Discord, and because a couple of our friends were like huge Beatles fans and had never seen it, so we were like, "Oh my god, you gotta watch it! It's so bad and awful." A couple of our friends really like kind of like it legitimately, just because they think it's just so insane. But yeah, we were watching it, and there was the sequence where they're all in the apartment, and a girl comes in like through the window. And the Beatles song, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window,
right?
And we were all like, and so she like comes through the window. It's like, Noah, what did she just do? And he's like, she came in through the bathroom window. It's just like, if you're a Beatles fan,
Stop.
It's almost like just
I'm
it's
sure I
like
would hate it now.
It's insane to watch if you like really know Beatles stuff.
Well, it's like the same director from Moulin Rouge, I think. Hey guys, this is Clifford from the future, coming to correct some misinformation. I just wanted to say that Across the Universe was not directed by the same person who directed the Moulin Rouge. Across the Universe was directed by Julie Taymor, and Moulin Rouge was directed by Baz Luhrmann, and he also directed The Great Gatsby. So, just wanted to clear the air there. Okay, back to your regularly scheduled program.
I think so, yeah.
So it's kind of like got that wackiness and zaniness to it.
It has some elements that are legitimately kind of enjoyable on like a VA degree, but it's like, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we're really making little some people love that movie though. Like some people are like, no, it's a masterpiece.
We should watch it and talk about
and
it.
I kind of respect it though, but there's some stuff and I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, that was our discussion of Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Tune in next time to the Podwood Forecast. This movie, I guess right off the bat, I really loved.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't want to say I liked it more than I expected because it makes it sound like I didn't expect to like it.
But
I was surprised.
Your expectations?
Yeah, I was surprised just how enthralled I was watching it like the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the first one. I think the first one's great, but I remember watching some clips from it recently and I rewatched the trailer. And I still think the art style in that movie is beautiful and it was like kind of revolutionary. But I was almost surprised at how simple it feels compared to this one now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe not simple, but it's obviously comes across that way because it's in basically one universe the whole time. So it has a consistent art style. In this movie, it has like multiple art styles, multiple animation styles.
Mm-hmm.
So it just feels a lot more like ambitious and crazy than that one did.
Right.
So I still think the first one, it's not like it makes it worse or anything. It looks amazing still, but I just was like, wow, like I didn't know how they were going to top it. I was worried it was going to feel, I was like, yeah, maybe it'll just look the same. Is this art style going to start feeling redundant soon? And I was really surprised at how just visually blown away I was. I remember when we finished watching it and I was like, man, that was like one of the most visually enthralling experiences I've had with a movie in a long time.
Yeah, same. I mean, it was a lot. They definitely cranked it to 11 with this one. It almost affected my viewing experience, but
yeah, they also turned the gain all the way up, and sometimes it peaked a little. You know what I mean?
just a little,
just
bit.
a little.
But sometimes you need that. You know, it's kind of like a Chariot song.
I had like one moment where I was like, I can't really tell what's happening for a second. I was like, whoa, this is a lot to follow. Like, there's a lot of
but it's not
blurbs
like
and splashes. But it was only like one
it's
moment.
Not bad.
That's what shocks me is 99.9999% of the time I'm impressed with how visually clear and easy to follow all of the set pieces, and like the storyboarding for this movie must have been like just crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And I love how coherent it is. There was like one like 2-second period where I was like, this is a lot, and I got like a little overwhelmed. I was like, whoa, like because it does like those flash blurbs and a lot of like colors swapping and changing and stuff during some of the action scenes, but
right.
But I was impressed how coherent and just clear and easy to follow it was, considering how much visual language was happening.
Yeah, it is a lot, but there was never any point where I was not enjoying myself.
Same, yeah.
It's a wild ride, but also it still has a lot of great heart in it. I'd say the story is fantastic. I have to watch the first one again, but I feel like I might have liked this better than the first one.
I did, yeah. I liked it definitely a little more. I think there's some elements of the first one that I like more a little bit, but overall I like this one more. The first one I like. I do just like that it's a very focused Spider-Man movie. You know, it's just about one character. It's a bit of an origin story, obviously, but it's just a little more I mean, this movie still is like a shockingly very personal story still.
Yeah.
I remember that was my biggest worry. I was like, this movie's going to look amazing, but am I going to think the story is like tired? Is it only going to be about like all the multiverse stuff? But there was a lot of personal motivation, some like really interesting twists. The whole it's like the whole first half of the movie is basically just about Miles and like he's in his hometown.
Well, even then, before Miles though, they spend a lot of time on Gwen.
Yeah, that too. I love the opening of the movie. Her just like playing the drums as an opening was so awesome. But yeah, like they made Gwen a way more. I mean, I thought she was cool in the first one, but they made her like way more interesting in this.
They go into more of her character for sure.
Yeah, like she feels like the other main character, which is really neat. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, and this one I was just worried it was going to be a bit narratively barfy of just like, oh, look, it's that like reference fest, and the whole point of the movie was just going to be, look at all these other Spider-Man, but it really took a long time to get to the Spider-Verse stuff. Like, obviously there was the whole thing where Gwen shows up and then he's kind of like figuring out like, ooh, and then sneaks in and stuff gets established. But based off the trailers, like the whole Spider-Man headquarters, that's really not much of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
It was a very like, it was a small portion of the movie compared to, I thought that was going to be the whole thing. Like, he was going to be in his hometown, have stuff with his parents, and then like after 20 minutes he was going to be there, and the whole movie was going to be him with all the spider people, which I didn't want. That's what I was worried about. I thought it was going to just be like, whatever, let's get to the fan service.
Right.
But the fan service was used in like a believable way, and it wasn't overdone, and it wasn't like, I mean, it was shoved in your face technically. It's like, here's a hard cut of like live action Andrew Garfield and then like Sam Raimi, Ben Parker dying and stuff. But it's done in like a way that I buy it because of how they set everything up and the whole like canon event thing, and they're showing examples. And I'm like, okay, it's like the way they're working it into it is actually doing it for me. Like I'm not annoyed by it. So I can get a little pessimistic about obvious fan service just feeling pointless, but I thought it was done really well, and I had my Leo DiCaprio pointing moments where I was like, yeah, what is this fun? I'm like,
there's definitely
I was like,
moments.
you know what, I can't be pessimistic about it. It's fun, it's cool, and it's not the whole movie.
I mean, it's basically doing what No Way Home did, but way better.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't hate No Way Home. There's it's a lot of fun.
It's fun.
But they did it a lot better in this. They took that aspect of it being, there's the fan service, there's the little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
But they did it better, and but they also didn't make it like the main driving force of the movie.
Yeah, I was really relieved that after the movie ended, that I was just excited to see how the story was going to continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story, it's just cool. I like all the stuff with his parents at the beginning. And we got to have a good portion of Miles just doing his thing in his world, and it didn't feel rushed. And the Spot was like a really fun, quirky villain, but he actually ends up being kind of like some of the animation stuff they do with him, like near the end of the movie, was like insane looking. I'm like, he's actually like really interesting, and I like how it's tied in with the first movie. It's really funny too.
Yeah,
like maybe a couple jokes here and there I didn't laugh at all, but there was a lot of stuff where I was like, this is genuinely funny, and it's the movie hardly takes a breath. Like it sometimes that's for the like not exactly its benefit. Like it hardly ever slows down. At least once it gets to a certain point. So like the humor is so fast paced. It's like joke, punchline, setup, boom, moving on, and it doesn't really take a moment, but it worked. Like it was very snappy, and I always found it funny, and I didn't find it exhausting.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is like you were talking about Spot, his whole character, and Jason Schwartzman's performance as him.
Yeah,
which Jason Schwartzman has been doing a lot of good voiceover work lately because he was in Puss in Boots. As what's his name? I forget the guy's name, but hey guys, it's Clifford from the future again, here to correct some more misinformation. Jason Schwartzman was not in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Sorry. For some reason I was thinking that Jason Schwartzman was the voice of Jack Horner in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but he was in fact not. That was John Mulaney. So, sorry about that, but here we back to the episode. But yeah, he's really funny, and like him interacting with Miles is just really fun, and all the things that they're doing with like going through the holes. Like even before the multiverse stuff comes in, they're already like having so much fun with like the physics with Spot's thing that he has.
He has holes.
Yeah, his holes. Yeah,
they there's a lot of really good use of people's.
Stop talking about your holes, please.
There's like a lot of good use of powers and like his gimmick and stuff is used just very entertainingly. Like the first like fight where it's just more goofy and slapstick, where Miles is like fighting him at the beginning of the movie, and all of it's just like how chaotic it is, and I'm like, it's just really fun and like crazy looking and creative and and just really funny, and they kind of set him up to be a joke, but the way that he actually kind of ends up becoming a legitimate threat is like a villain like the Spot, and
which I like that. I like that.
Great
aspect.
Design too. Like I like how gangly and like weird he looks, and a lot of older iterations of the Spot I looked at always give him like really dumb looking eyes, but he's just supposed to have like a weird creepy blank face, and I like that. That's how they have him in this movie.
It kind of reminds me of those little creatures from Princess Mononoke.
Yeah,
the little spirit
like
creatures
big,
with like the
stretched out version.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, what you doing back there, man?
Nothing. Everything's cool, man. All good. Just forgot my pin
Get
number.
yourself out of here.
No, sir, please just let me rob you.
I'm going to rob you.
There's no reason to bring wood into this. I've never robbed anybody in my life. Please don't make this a bad experience for me.
Bad experience? I'm trying to run a business here.
I have these whole... Oh, wow, this is curry powder? Well, see, I'm a scientist. I was. I am. Anyway, you've heard of Alchemax? I used to work there. I was actually considered handsome by scientist standards. I had a little accident. Ah! Now look at me. I'm so sorry. First of all, I'm not even robbing you. I mean, this ATM machine doesn't even belong to you, right? This belongs to the bank. They're the real criminals.
You're the real criminal. You're robbing me.
You know, I can't really get a job anywhere anymore being like this, so I've turned to a life of crime.
Why do people say ATM machine?
Who said that?
The M stands for machine.
Spider-Man!
Something else that's really fun about this movie is the fact that with like, I mean, you know, this movie and the previous movie, you know, they experimented with the different with the frame rate, but with this one, they did different frame rates for different characters, basically.
Yeah, especially Spider-Punk, Hobie Brown was... I read about how they had to animate him, and it's ridiculous, like how much work and effort they put into stuff like that. And it's like smart too, because it's like he's a punk, and so like the whole thing with that is like he doesn't like believe in like consistency and stuff, so he's always like he's like warping color, and his boots and clothes are animated at a different rate than like his body and his guitar. And you think that would look like a mess, but it's really cool looking, and it's not like headache inducing.
Right, yeah.
And like other characters from different worlds have their own style or frame rate. And I love this, like there's like the section with the Lego stuff too, which was animated by some like 14-year-old who did like Lego fan animations, and they had him do that, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was awesome.
I also only just realized that Daniel Kaluuya did the voice of Spider-Punk.
Yeah,
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, really good voice cast all around.
Yeah.
Everyone does awesome.
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
His character is...
I'm really interested in him. He wasn't really in it as much as I thought he would be. He was in probably half of the movie at least.
He'll probably play a bigger part in the second
He definitely will.
I mean, I guess the third one.
But I love the iteration of him, because that character, like Miguel O'Hara, is usually like really interesting. And I know he was in like a video game a while ago too, and like from the PS3. That's like more than a while ago, I guess. But yeah, I like that. I like the motivations behind everyone, and it's just like a really interesting story, and I'm glad it feels a little bit more personal, and that it's still focused on like it doesn't feel scattered. And even though it gave more time for Gwen to develop as a character too, I like that it's not losing focus, and it doesn't feel like it's not Miles' story. And that's kind of the point, because it is kind of, I don't want to get too deep into spoilers, but like it is kind of almost this meta thing.
We can spoil. We're in spoiler territory, I'd say.
Sure, yeah. But it is like this meta narrative about Miles, about how it's like, well, you know, you're not like a real Spider-Man unless you go through this or that. And it's almost like this commentary on like fan culture, where it's like, this version of Spider-Man isn't a real Spider-Man because he didn't have an uncle die and he didn't have this happen to him. And because
yeah.
the whole point is like these canon events, and Miguel's going around and he's like, you stopped this from happening, but this is what needs to happen to Spider-Man, so you ruined it. And it's like everyone has their canon event, and that's the big thing, is like every Spider-Man needs to have something like this happen to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But Miles is like, no, I'm my own. In a meta sense, he's like, no, I'm my own character. I'm my own version of Spider-Man. I don't need to just be Peter Parker. And it's literally a line in the movie where he's like, no, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
You know, and
I love that.
So it's kind of like this meta narrative on like writing characters. And this might seem weird. It's very similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake in a way, how that has like a meta narrative on video game remakes, and how, oh no, the game needs to go exactly this way and be this way.
Mitchell had to put in Final Fantasy in video games in some way.
But I won't explain why. People who played it know what I'm talking about. But
sure, no spoilers.
But yeah, it was just really cool, and I think that's really fun and clever, because it is just a good story in itself. But I like that it also has this meta aspect to it that I'm sure is completely intentional. Like, I'd be surprised if it's not.
Yeah, and I really liked that whole aspect of it. It brings up an interesting, I guess, like moral dilemma of like, if you did have that. Well, it's a lot about grief, you know.
Yeah.
And like how, you know, the dark moments in our lives make us who we are.
Yeah.
You know, and like what is, you know, in his situation, what is the right moral thing to do is to, you know, I mean, we're in spoilers, I guess, but like, is he going to let his dad die?
Yeah.
Or is he going to save him? You know,
Mm-hmm.
what is the right thing to do? And that's what makes, we talked about in Guardians 3, I did at least, how the villain was so interesting, and you kind of understood his as messed up as they were.
Yeah.
You understood his agenda and his goals. This even more so in this. Like,
yeah.
Miguel is such an interesting character, and Oscar Isaac does him so well.
Because he kills like an alternate version of himself to take his place because he liked his life more. And
right, yeah, he has such a really compelling backstory.
Yeah.
You know, and you understand why he is the way that he is.
Right.
You know, he wants to make sure that everything is in order.
And what I find kind of fun too about this, and why I'm excited for the sequel, is like I was kind of reading up on people talking about it, and how some people are pointing out inconsistencies with like Miguel's rules on the whole thing, but some other people are like, well, maybe that's the point, is that what he believes like should be happening in the canon events, maybe that's not like real, and he's trying to justify what he did, and maybe, you know, they don't have to be like enforcing these canon events on people, but he thinks he needs to. And it's like, there's a lot of room. It's fun that people are like speculating and analyzing characters and their motivations, and it's not just people posting gifs of like, oh look, it's Spider-Man from the PS2 game.
Yeah.
That's not all it is. Like, people are actually really interested in the story and like character motivations and analyzing all of that. And
Yeah.
I like that the highlight of the movie in general discussion. I mean, obviously there's a lot of people just geeking out over like the fan service, but again, like I said earlier, I think the fan service, like it earns it, and a lot of it's fun, it's cool, and says a lot about the movie that most people, the discussion is about the story itself, you know.
Yeah.
And that all the cameos and fan service stuff are just kind of like icing.
Yeah, and all the animation and such. Yeah.
Yeah.
The story is like actually really good. You know? And I found it so, I was like shocked when they revealed that, when Miguel's like, you weren't even like supposed to happen, you know, like,
yeah,
the spider that bit you isn't even from your world or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
It's a really cool twist. And there's what I also find really cool is I saw other posts about how the first movie foreshadowed a lot of this movie. There's
I need to
the part
rewatch.
where he has his powers, where he gets his powers in the first movie, and I only know this because I didn't rewatch it, but I saw people posting clips when he gets bit by a spider and he's on the train or something, and his like spider sense happens, and there's like the colors behind him like shift, and it's like green and purple like the Prowler, but when his like first spider sense goes off, it changes to like red and blue. So it's like because that happened, it stopped him from becoming the Prowler like he does in that alternate universe. And there's like another thing where it's a clip from the first movie where he's in his like, I think his kind of homemade costume. He's laying on the floor and there's like a broken sign around him, and it's like a big 4 and a 2, which was like the number universe that spider came from or something.
Oh shoot!
There was a lot. I think that I'm trying to remember. I might be misspeaking a little bit, but there was like a lot of intentional foreshadowing in the first movie, which I think is super cool. They had a lot
planned out.
Yeah, so it's kind of neat to think that they actually had a lot of it planned out kind of from the start. Mm-hmm. So that's neat. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, it makes me, because apparently there's a rumor that kind of leaked out that apparently they haven't even started animating the third one.
Oh yeah,
which is supposed to be coming out next year. March.
It's totally getting delayed. It's probably gonna be like Christmas next year, or even like early 2025. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets mega delayed.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like, how long did it take them to make this second one after the first one came out? It's like 4 years,
maybe, and a lot of that is like prep work, like writing and storyboarding,
right?
And a lot of that is like a majority of the work usually. So, who knows? Like, maybe they could animate it in like a year or something, but there's no way it comes out in March.
Well, hopefully they're not overworking their animators.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that, and someone pointed this out that I heard, you had the new Pixar movie come out.
Yeah.
Elemental or whatever. And that movie cost more to make.
Yeah.
Somehow. And it just goes to show you that like a budget doesn't mean everything.
Hollywood budgets, I don't get them anymore. The new Indiana Jones movie costs like $300 million to make, and it looks worse than any of the previous ones based off the preview.
It's all spent on the deep fake, I guess.
It's all like, I just think people just like, I don't know, like, where the money's going to, unless it's just CGI costs so much and actors just cost so much now. And
I'm sure some actors, yeah.
But it's like movies just cost so much, and a lot of them just look really bad, and it's like, where's this money going, dude?
But
like, movies do not need to be costing like $500 million to make. It's crazy. And this movie didn't have that. The first Spider-Verse movie, people considered it to be a pretty low budget animation movie.
Oh yeah.
And this one didn't really have that much bigger of a budget, apparently, which is wild. I don't even think it had like I think it had like an $80 million budget or 100 or something at most.
Jeez. I think,
which for animation is crazy.
Yeah. I think it just goes to show that I just think better movies are made with smaller budgets.
Yeah, they
honestly.
I
you get too much
agree.
of a budget, then you like rely too heavily on, which I know. I mean, we're talking about an animated movie, but like, so I guess when I'm talking,
but
more
Elemental has
specifically-
Claude, so
it what?
It has Claude.
Claude.
You haven't seen that joke?
No.
They so Disney Pixar they tried to make a character in the movie like a hype, like advertising character, like a meme. They tried to force a character to become a meme. His name is
marketing.
Claude. And there was this TikTok of like someone like filming the movie in a theater, like with their phone. And this is on the official like Pixar TikTok or whatever for Elemental, and the character shows up and the crowd starts like screaming and cheering. And it's clearly fake, but they're trying to make it seem like people are like cheering and screaming.
Everyone
for this character.
loves Claude.
Yeah, they're like, oh, the crowd freaked out when Claude appeared, and it was just weird. Very strange marketing.
What is he supposed to be? Is he like
he's just like a pile of dirt with a rock for a nose. I don't know.
Like, what's so special about him? Is he
Nothing.
voiced by someone that's cool?
they're just desperate, and they're trying to make a character a meme, so it'll get so people will spread it via memes. It's like
his name is literally Claude.
Yeah,
CLOD.
Yeah,
I was
They're trying to like force a character to become a meme, so they'll get free marketing off
of memes.
But
I see. He's like a little cute guy, whatever.
Yeah, it's like forced corporate meme.
He's like a minion, basically.
Pretty much.
That's so funny.
And it sucks because I guess like the person who made the movie,
want one.
It's like based off some kind of real, genuine experience that's like supposed to be legit, but the movie just didn't really look that good, unfortunately.
It doesn't. It looks bad.
And yeah, and it like bombed.
They already got a Funko Pop of Claude.
Of course they do. No one's gonna buy it.
I want one. Look at him.
I hate it.
He's so cute.
It was the second worst Pixar opening of all time, I think.
Really, second? I thought it was the worst.
Maybe it was. I don't know.
I think it was the worst. Maybe
really,
like
even
after The Good Dinosaur or something like that.
Maybe. But yeah, it's really interesting.
All that to say is that seems to be like a sign of the times these days where like other animated movies are finally like outperforming Pixar.
Yeah, totally. It's nice that well, it's kind of weird because Marvel's technically owned by Disney, but Spider-Man is owned by Sony.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Disney would technically be associated with this movie in any way, just in terms of legality.
I don't think so.
But it is it's like a non-Disney animation studio making it.
Right.
So I'm gonna count it and say it's interesting to see a non-Disney animated movie just like crushing Disney animation, especially Pixar.
Yeah, and I mean, like the first Into the Spider-Verse like was a game changer.
Yeah.
You see so many movies that are like clearly inspired by it, and hopefully that doesn't become like too much of a thing.
Luckily, stuff like Puss in Boots or even the new Ninja Turtles movie, clearly there's some like domino effect from the first Spider-Verse movie, but
they're still like their own thing.
Yeah, there's been a trend where when they still have their own style, and it doesn't just feel like a total ripoff, which is nice, and I hope that's the way it continues to go. I
just hope that it just generally encourages. I mean, it already is, but encourages more like stylized and fun animation.
I have a theory that eventually, so it went from like there was 2D animation, and then there was like CGI animation became popular, and then it was like Spider-Verse style, which is very inspired by like 2D stuff, and and I feel like there's going to be a big loop where there's going to be movies that look kind of like this kind of style for like several years, and that's going to be like Disney or Pixar, someone is absolutely going to make a movie that is like this kind of style at some point.
Right, yeah.
Like for sure it's going to happen. And then once that gets burnt out, I think big studios are going to loop back to 2D movies.
I hope so.
I think the style is like going back to being more 2D inspired. And I still think CGI movies will always be around or be incorporated, or they'll find a way to make CG just look like 2D completely.
Yeah.
But
I think I heard a rumor that Disney is in works on making a new 2D animated movie.
Interesting.
But that is unconfirmed.
I mean, there's still anime, like the last Ghibli Miyazaki movies coming out in Japan soon, I think, and so like it's not like there's no 2D animated movies, but that's like it's anime, so it's just like obviously
right, yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting to see the style evolving and that it's actually good and has gotten better. And when this style gets burnt out and tired, a new one will happen, hopefully. And it's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, because
like the Pixar movie like bombed, and like Puss in Boots and this Spider-Man movie made a lot of money, a pretty good amount of money. Especially Spider-Man like made a pretty good profit, I think. And Last Wish, the Puss in Boots movie, I think it didn't open strong, but word of mouth like really carried it, and it like ended up doing really well.
That makes perfect sense.
And now it's like a new Pixar movie is like not doing well because it looks like another kind of like
I think I heard
Pixar movie.
I think I heard that
that new Disney movie Wish, like I think that movie is going to do horribly just because stylistically.
I keep forgetting about that movie, honestly.
I think people are realizing that they want interesting looking animation again.
Yeah.
Because it's gotten so stagnant and
right, yeah. Well, also like Elemental just looks bad. Like, it's bad character designs.
Yeah,
so
it is.
And they're also running out of ideas. Like there's a constant joke about Pixar where it's like, what if cars had feelings, or what if what if feelings had feelings?
Yeah.
You know? And now
what if
it's
feelings had
literally,
feelings?
What if elementals had feelings? You
Yeah.
know, they're running out of ideas, which is sad because there's so many great things to explore that other studios are doing.
Yeah.
And Pixar and Disney clearly are not. So, and everything's a remake or a reboot of something anyway.
Yeah,
so.
and they just rely on sequels, and they're going to do Toy Story 5 because they need to make money because none of their original... Which sucks because like I respect that Pixar still tries to make like original things. Like Elemental, it's just an original IP. Like I do, I still respect that, but it's just sad that they can't really put out an original thing and it's interesting anymore. You know?
Yeah.
At least to us, like maybe there's like... You know, I'm open to...
Yeah, we are in our late 20s, you know?
I'm willing to accept that I grew up with the golden era of Pixar, and so I'm just always going to be biased and always going to be like, no, that's the best one no matter what. But maybe kids that grow up with the new Pixar stuff, like, will feel the exact same way and be like, oh, these are awesome.
we loved... I mean, you know, we grew up with all the good DreamWorks movies, and we... I mean, at least for me personally... I fell off of DreamWorks for a while, and then Puss in Boots: The Last Wish happened, and I loved it.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I still stand by. I'll still always say I do legitimately just think older Pixar is just of better quality. Mostly, there's some new Pixar stuff I like. I liked Soul, I like Coco a lot, but yeah, I just don't get excited for them anymore.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think ever since like they like officially, I don't know when this happened, but like. When Disney kind of like officially took over Pixar, I think
it's
that's
just none of the same
people.
I mean, it's the company, but it's not the people making the same stuff.
Well, do you remember when they were first promoting WALL-E? They had that little teaser trailer where they talked about the history of Pixar.
Yeah,
where all these like writers and directors, and I think Brad Bird was like a part of it.
Yeah,
they had one meeting, and that was when they came up with all the ideas. For Toy Story, Bugs Life, Monsters, Inc., and everything. And they said the last one that they talked about that they hadn't done yet was WALL-E.
Huh.
And I think that's super telling because like I feel like it was after WALL-E. I mean, you still had like Up and such, and it wasn't like
Up is good, but I still really like Up, but it's carried by the beginning of that movie, the sad stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's like just amazing, but I don't really love the rest of that movie.
Yeah.
But it's still good. I consider that the last like Pixar movie that really just kind of genuinely feels like a Pixar movie to me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, like at least in terms of the era we grew up with. But WALL-E, like that, I still think WALL-E is like really cool. It's not like my favorite or anything, but it
got a Criterion release.
Yeah, it just feels like the end of an era for sure.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that was like when
I'm sure people like there's a big crowd like demographic of people that love post up WALL-E Pixar as much as we like the old stuff.
Sure.
I respect that, but it's just, you can just tell it's different,
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not like old Pixar was perfect. I have a soft spot for Bugs Life, but that movie's really not that good. Like that era still had Cars.
It's Seven Samurai, but Bugs.
Yeah, and it still had Cars, which like Cars. I don't hate the first one, but like, Yeah. Still not perfect, but I think they have more movies like Bugs Life and Cars now. It was like a Pixar dud was like a rarity, and now it's kind of like a hit or miss. Like you get stuff like Onward.
Because it used to be where it's like if Pixar was coming out with a movie, I was gonna go see it.
Yeah.
And now it's like I'm not gonna go see it unless I hear from people that I trust that it's like really, really good. Okay.
That officially hit me when Brave was coming out, and I was pretty young-ish when I don't know how old I was when I came out. I wasn't like super, I don't know, was I a teenager? Can't remember how old I was when Brave came out, but I remember that being the first time a Pixar movie like really disappointed me. And then The Good Dinosaur came out shortly after, and I remember being really excited by the teaser, and then that was like not good. And I was like,
I
man,
never even saw it.
I was like, that's when I kind of was like, man, do I like not really like Pixar movies now? What's happening? And then I don't know, Toy Story 3 I still like, but
It's fun.
that movie's like catered for us though, so it's like
yeah.
unfair. Like, of course I'm gonna like it. You know, it's made to make 20. It's made for 20-year-olds. You know,
Right? Yeah, it's made for people who grew up with the Toy Story movies.
and now 4 is whatever,
is
and
just-
5 is like not like. One of my friends was at a shop that was selling Toy Story merch, and Woody, the bottom of his boot said Bonnie and not Andy. And he was
no.
like, "What?" He was like, "Are you kidding me? This is no."
We must riot in the streets.
So I was like, "Yeah, it's just like it's the new era. Like it's split.
We're like that Andy meme where he's
We're the
like,
boom-
I
we're
don't
the
want to
Pixar
play
boom.
with you anymore.
We are absolutely the Pixar boomers." I see people are like, "Oh, people who are new Pixar. Like, have you watched The Incredibles recently?" Like, yeah, it's an amazingly written movie.
It's my favorite.
It's like, yeah, it has
Pixar
amazing
movie,
characters and
actually.
writing, but like this scene looks like a PS1 game. And like, yeah, some of the animation in old Pixar is dated, but of course
Yeah.
it's going to be dated. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
Woody,
really.
Woody looks creepy in the first Toy Story.
Like, I don't
when
really
he
need it
laughs.
to. I still think the first Incredibles looks fine, but like, I don't need.
It's
Those
still
movie-
good for what it is.
Those,
you know?
The thing with me is like The Incredibles is my favorite because. Not because it's the best looking animated movie ever. It has moments where I think it looks awesome, but
It's the story.
the writing and the
characters.
characters are just
Yeah.
so good, and the music.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The
music
actual
is so good.
direction, the action sequences are like awesome. It's just
I legitimately like consider it like one of my favorite superhero movies.
yeah, it's
of
just
all time.
it's just a good movie. Like yeah, it's for its time it looked amazing. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to really judge an animated movie, but I don't think it's aged like milk or anything.
right.
Some
yeah.
people try to say like older Pixar's aged like milk, but like you watch like the original Finding Nemo even or like Toy Story 2 and it's like I still think they look good. It's like yeah, new Pixar except for like maybe Elemental, like some of the new Pixar stuff like looks like Soul, Coco, like they look amazing, but
Yeah.
if the story is not that interesting, which that's not relevant to Soul or Coco, I like those, but I don't really care how good a movie looks if I'm not really interested.
But that
in what's
almost seems to
happening.
be like all they really care about anymore. Because like I remember the promotional material for Toy Story 4, and I'm sorry, I know we've been talking about Pixar instead.
Yeah, it's
Spider-Man,
animations.
but-
It's kind of relevant. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's an animation.
Because Pixar used
discussion.
to be like the king of animated movies.
Yeah.
But like the promotional material for Toy Story 2 was all about like, oh, we have these like new like virtual lenses or whatever, so that you can see like every thread on Woody's fabric or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, put that same amount of effort like into the story.
Yeah.
You know? Because like Toy Story 4 was like not
Toy Story
really...
4, I like don't really remember what happens in it.
They're
which
in
is-
an antique store,
yeah,
and that's it.
it's
really.
just a
Bo
weird.
Peep comes back,
It's like
and
that's
she's attractive.
It's just their paycheck movie. Like they have to make those so that they can afford for movies like Elemental to bomb.
Yeah.
And it's like now they're gonna do Inside Out too because Inside Out did well. And
Wait,
Inside-
really?
Yeah,
I didn't even know that. That's funny.
it's gonna be about Riley as a teenager. So it's gonna deal with teenage.
Oh,
emotions.
great.
Which, like, you know, I think Inside Out's fine, but I don't.
You know what wasn't a bad... I actually kind of
I
forgot that
just
this
don't
was
really.
a Pixar movie.
I just don't like Pixar sequels,
Yeah.
except for Toy Story. That's like the only one that's gotten away with
It's
it
the only one that
until
makes
4.
sense, yeah.
Until 4, you know.
Like, Incredibles 2 was bad. Finding Dory I never saw, but
was bad.
I haven't heard
This
much
is boring.
about
It was fine.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's bad. I'm being a little too cynical to say it's bad. I think Finding Dory is kind of forgettable. Monsters University was bad.
I remember
That's
loving
bad.
it when I saw
No,
it.
that movie's kind of rough.
Yeah, I remember mostly loving it because of the random moments in it when the guy's like, I can't go back to jail or whatever.
Yeah, it's got good stuff in it.
And the mom's like, I'm just going to be sitting in the car listening to my tunes. And it's just,
Yeah, that's funny.
It's just metal.
It's got funny moments in it, but yeah, just in general, I'm like, man.
Turning Red, I totally forgot that was a thing, but that wasn't bad.
That was pretty good. I
Yeah.
thought it was all right. I'm not. Some people like really loved it. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked how it was like they did something a little different with like the character designs and
Yeah.
such. But yeah, Turning Red wasn't bad.
Yeah, that one was like pretty decent. I wouldn't watch it again, but I liked
Yeah.
it. I thought it was really good
Yeah.
for like a new Pixar. I was like, yeah, and of course it's the one that doesn't go to theaters. You know.
Right, yeah, that didn't even go to
It
theaters.
just went straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah, but it did really well though. A lot of people liked it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Luca. That's such a nothing movie.
Yeah, it was just kind of like wannabe Ghibli. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it was inspired, tried to be like a Ghibli-like type of movie, but I was like, I don't want, whatever. I don't really care.
It was nothing. It's such an unspecial movie in my opinion.
But
anyways,
but
all
yeah,
that to say,
to loop it back, I think it's really healthy that it's good for animation companies that fall into ruts like that. At least big ones, you know. I'm not gonna like hate on like small, struggling animation studios, but Disney, you know, it's good for them to get kicked around like this because I think that's when they're like, okay, we'll try again, you know. Not to say they're not trying, but because that's like really disrespectful to the animator. Even if it's a bad animated movie, it's still a lot of work.
Yeah,
I don't want to be like they're not trying, but I think it's healthy for creatives to get challenged like that, and I feel like maybe there could be a spark where Pixar or Disney in general just maybe they end up putting out something that has like incredible animation and it just blows everyone's mind.
What I want to have, because I think the problem is
I haven't really
that,
cared about any of their stuff in a long time.
No, yeah.
I remember I was like relatively interested in Frozen 2 and then I just heard it was bad and didn't watch it.
Well, I don't even like Frozen 1, so...
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't interested in it, but I was like, oh, maybe it looks like it's going to be like a fantasy movie with swords.
Yeah.
I just remember the trailer, I was like, yeah, it looks fine, and then I heard it was bad, so I didn't see it.
I think the problem is that Disney has too much money behind it, and it's like, if I feel like they don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And what I want to happen is for... This is really bad. What I want to happen is for them to go back to where Disney was in like the 70s. Disney really struggled during the 70s.
Yeah.
Where you can tell that they kind of like split hairs with the animation.
Yeah.
But they still were like pumping out some like really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's
then,
like it's like, yeah, they were trying to make movies that would make money, but they were putting like their all into each one, you know, because they wanted to really get everyone's attention, and it doesn't feel like they think that their releases are that special anymore.
Right, yeah, they're not taking any chances
It's like, oh, we're doing a
anymore.
movie about the origin of the Wish-Upon star.
Everyone's
like,
wanted that.
Fine, like, you know, I'm glad they're at least creating a new character and like trying to do something. But like,
but are they really though? Since it's already attached to Disney lore or whatever.
Well, the star you wish upon, it's like, is that really lore? It's just like a fairy tale thing.
But it's a Disney thing.
Yeah, but like the characters in it are original is like all I mean. It's
okay,
not,
whatever.
It's not like based
but
on.
they still got to find like some way
it's
to
not
like
based
tie
on like
it back
Rapunzel
to...
or something. Yeah, it's like, you know, that's a Disney thing.
Yeah, I know, and I want them to stop doing that.
Yeah,
I want more original stuff, and. Because like after their slump in the 70s,
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that because a lot of their best stuff in the early days were still technically like inspired, like Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Well, no, yeah, I mean like now,
or like Lion King is like.
Sure, yeah, I know. What I mean is that now it seems that whatever they come out with has to be connected to an already Disney released thing.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know,
I thought you meant like
except for Pixar.
Gotcha.
But like everything is a sequel or everything is a remake.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
Something like I
I
want
thought
them...
you just meant like being based on anything.
No,
okay.
I don't have any problem with that.
Okay.
But like find something if they're gonna do that. Find something new and interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Rapunzel a Disney thing? Or no, that's just kind of like an old folk fairy tale, right?
I guess Tangled.
But Tangled is good.
Tangled is good.
I
it
like
is
Tangled
better
a
in
lot.
Frozen, in my opinion. And so
it's way better. It's
I guess that was the like last time where it really felt like Disney was trying something different.
Yeah,
and yet
Tangled
Frozen
is awesome.
became like so popular.
Frozen was too popular. It
Yeah.
like ruined them.
Yeah, and I don't think they've really tried ever since.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And then, I mean, I've never seen Moana, but that's like an original thing, I
That's
think.
true. Okay.
I mean, I heard
stop
that's
proving my point wrong.
No, but I mean, I know what you mean, though, is like...
Oh my gosh.
It always has to be like... something they can be like, oh, look, we're celebrating us.
Yeah.
You know?
And now I suddenly just remembered the Moana live action that they've already had a teaser for.
I swear, I think that's just The Rock's just wants to do that.
You think so?
I think The Rock was like, please, you guys need to do this. And so I can
Everyone
be in
hates me because I ruined the DC universe.
Yeah, I feel like The Rock like just begged Disney to do that. And they're just like, whatever.
So wrong. That just it's just, I mean, I don't care about Moana, but it's just
weird.
It is very weird.
It'd be like, let's remake Frozen live action now.
Yeah.
Moana was after Frozen. Like,
they technically already did that with remember the Once Upon a Time show?
Yeah.
Whatever? Yeah, they had live action Elsa in there.
Oh, yeah. And they're doing like live action Lilo and Stitch. They're just going to remake every cartoon ever. And what happens when they run out? Are they just going to make original live action movies?
They're going to do remakes of the remakes.
It's just like, and they're going to do sequels to the live action because they're doing the Lion King
one,
prequel sequel.
Yeah.
It's just insane. Like,
all that to say, support other animation studios because they're.
I mean, and Into the Spider-Verse did or across whatever it's called across the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
It did like really well.
Yeah, it helps that it's a Spider-Man movie, but yeah, I think that's going to encourage more movies like that. There's other great animation studios out there. Like I can't remember who they are, but the people who did like Wolfwalkers, and the Keeble movie that I haven't seen.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm thinking. No, the song. What's that movie I'm thinking of that they also made about Ireland or whatever? I'm gonna look it up.
Song of Irish.
Yeah, it's like Song of something. But anyways, yeah, there's a lot of great. And then they did the Lego movie, same people. Secret of Kells. That's what I'm thinking about. I need to see that.
Oh,
Secret of Kells and the Breadwinner, I think.
The Breadwinner.
Yeah. So that's a really cool studio that does really interesting 2D animation.
Yeah.
And they do really well. So, and like you said, there's Studio Ghibli. Yeah, we just need to normalize like really not even just 2D animation, but like just really good stylized,
just creative animation
with
like
compelling stories.
Yeah, and I guess that whole conversation is like to, put in the point that it's really awesome that something that's really artistically fresh and creative, like Across the Spider-Verse, is the movie that's making the money right now. Because whatever, money's not important. Yeah, it's like, it is though. It's like people with art always want to say like, don't worry about money with art. Like, but stuff like this that goes out to a mass amount of people, that inspires people and gets people jobs and stuff to do stuff that's actually creative and that they can like feel proud of, doesn't get made if it doesn't make money. And the fact that something is creative like this is making the money.
Yeah.
And the stuff that people are getting kind of bored with and that has been really redundant for a while is kind of like starting to falter and not make as much money. And it's not like I want people to lose money and get fired, like, but it's good for there to be just something thrown into the mix that gets everyone in that field of work like inspired again to do something a little different and to take their stories more seriously too, because I think that's a problem with animation is like, and stuff that we grew up with, like some stuff you could argue some stuff back then was maybe a little too dark for kids, but a lot of it took itself seriously, and it wasn't like edgy or anything, but it was like mature, but not like too mature for a kid.
It didn't treat
the kids
idiots.
like dumb idiots. Yeah. Like it trusts that, maybe you're like a 5-year-old kid watching this, but we're not going to treat you like a dumb idiot and flash a bunch of colors and minions in front of your face to make you laugh. Like, like they wanted to make meaningful stuff that kids could grow up with and look back on. And I feel like just a lot of stuff kind of became redundant and very like simple and just was made purely just to distract and not necessarily inspire or entertain. Like a lot of stuff was just like, it's a distraction movie, you know. That's all it is. It's like keep my child busy with Minions for like an hour and a half. But now it feels like stuff like this is coming out, and I feel like that could inspire really meaningful stuff that can still be appropriate for kids to get made. And I mean, there's always going to be shovelware garbage that gets made. Even in the 90s, there was plenty of it, like a ton of it.
Sure, it's always going to be a thing.
But big mainstream stuff that actually makes like $500 million is like, it's good to see there's hope for that side of animation again. And it just feels really reinvigorating to see that. It's nice.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yes.
So we went on a little tangent about animation there, but
seems appropriate.
Yeah,
because that's like kind of the point. That's the big point of these movies, right? Is like, obviously the story's great, but the big driving force behind them really is the animation, and that's.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said earlier, I love that the takeaway from it outside of animation is that people are really into the story and the characters, and they're really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But it's cool that we have something like that looks good, but also just is good.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So
it's not just pretty colors and everything. It's like, because like example, the Mitchells versus the Machines.
Yeah.
It's an okay story with like really cool like stylized animation and such. But the story is like okay.
That's like maybe the only movie to come out where it's like it feels a little redundant of Into the Spider-Verse, but it's the same people. It was like the only other movie at the time, made sense. Like it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
But it's exactly right.
That's right.
Exactly right.
I can hear you being quiet, Mom.
I hope I didn't ice your game, man.
No one my age says those words in that order.
It's just hard to see my little man not being my little boy all the time.
Yeah.
You know, for years I've been taking care of this little boy. Making sure he is loved, that he feels like he belongs wherever he wants to be. He wants to go out into the world and do great big things.
Not bad, kid.
And what I worry about most,
I love you, Miles,
is they won't look out for you like us.
Miles!
Want to get out of here? Wherever you go from here, you have to promise to take care of that little boy for me. Make sure he never forgets where he came from. And he never doubts that he is loved. And he never lets anyone tell him that he doesn't belong there. You gotta promise, Miles.
I promise.
Who do you think you are? Really?
We are supposed to be the good guys.
We are.
So Across the Spider-Verse is really good. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I guess so far it's my favorite movie of the year, which is crazy.
It's my second favorite, I think.
Oh yeah,
or maybe tied for favorite.
Did you spoil what your actual favorite is?
You know what it is. You wouldn't agree.
I wouldn't agree.
Probably not. You need to see it though. I need to know what you
I haven't seen it yet.
Knock at the Cabin.
Oh,
that's my favorite so far still.
Gosh.
Though to be fair, I've only seen like 7 movies I think this year. I loved Knock at the Cabin though. It's like it's probably like tied. I really did almost put this above it, genuinely.
Well, I think it sucks. I haven't even seen it yet.
It's really good. I think
you need to catch up on movies. You need to see Beau's Afraid. And you also need to see Asteroid City.
I need to see Beau is Afraid, Asteroid City. I might see the new Indiana Jones, even though I don't think it's going to be good.
It's not.
It's probably not.
I'm just saying.
Have you seen it?
No.
It's probably not
I
going to
really
be.
don't care about Indiana Jones.
Really? I love Indiana Jones. I mean, I'm not like... I don't think they're like...
It's fine.
They're not like my favorite movies like a lot of people, but I think they're good.
I didn't grow up with them, so... I'm also not interested really in seeing an old Indiana Jones bumbling about.
This year, I'm really slacking this year. Top 7... You want to know what my 7 in order, my top 7 of the year so far is?
Sure.
It's kind of sad. The first 4 movies I think are great. At least 4 out of 7 I think are great, and the rest, it's like 4 of them are great and 3 of them are just bad. Knock at the Cabin, Spider-Verse, John Wick 4, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That's my top 4 right now.
Oh, okay.
And then Mario, the Mario movie, Ant-Man, and The Flash. So it's like, I have like 4 movies I think are great, and then 3 that I think are just kind of really bad. So I'm like, I need to see more stuff. I'm curious about Beau is Afraid. I'm kind of concerned if I'll end up even liking it at this point. A lot of people I know, Beau is Afraid.
Oh, I like it. It's just a very complicated movie.
Yeah, I need to see it just out of curiosity.
My favorite so
I think
far...
I'm pretty excited for Asteroid City at this point. And I'm trying to think what else came out that I like need to see.
There's not much yet.
Mission Impossible will be cool, I guess.
Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Oh yeah, Barbie and Oppenheimer will be good.
Yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon is coming out.
The second half of this year is gonna like save me.
Yeah,
Killers of the Flower Moon looks so
Oscar
good.
season.
Is there anything else that's like come out that I have missed? That's like.
I personally really enjoyed the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
I do want to see that.
It's not amazing. It's just a 6 out of 10.
I keep hearing it's just like a solid fun movie.
Yeah,
which I'm like, cool.
It's a solid fun movie.
Which that's.
I don't know if it'll be in my top 10, but we'll see how this year goes.
Yeah.
Something that I know we're now just going into like movies that we like, but I really enjoyed. It's a mini series, but I usually count those as movies. But is a mini series called Love and Death. With Elizabeth Olsen and Jesse Plemons. That was really good. It was based on a true story. It's on HBO. I really liked that.
Oh, Blackberry! I need to see that. We need to watch.
Oh yeah,
I've heard that's awesome.
Yeah, we do need to see that.
Yeah, I want to watch that. I see some people I know are putting Skinamarink on their list for this year. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's one of those.
I'm confused if I counted it for this year, it'd be pretty high up.
You already mentioned it for last year, so
yeah,
it's kind of too late.
It's true. It's really good though.
I still need to see it. They played it in the normal theater, and I didn't
really.
Take the
that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
It's patience testing. I can't remember how critical. I can't remember really what I said about it last time, but I think it's really cool.
Okay. Well, anyways.
But yeah.
Speaking of, actually, before we go into a recommendation, there's something that I discovered since the last time that we recorded together that counts as housekeeping. So, and I haven't talked to you about this.
Ooh.
So, for those of you who don't know, we now have a YouTube channel, Podwood Forecast YouTube channel. You should go subscribe because we only have 5 subscribers. So there I've been uploading video versions of our episodes. There's nothing visual, there's still audio, but I've still been putting them up there and putting up our back catalog. But something else that I've been doing is posting highlights, which are little, like clips from our episodes that I'm like, oh, this is an interesting little discussion here. Like that could make a good single video. And a couple months ago, I posted our little conversation from our Cracker Island by Gorillaz episode. We were talking about, well, the video is shush. Captain Chicken by Gorillaz is just Flimsy Steve. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
That was mostly you just saying how that song is just the Flimsy Steve meme. And so I posted that conversation. And the other day I went to check on the the episode on that video for the first time, and it's got over 2,000 views.
Really?
On it, yeah. It's
whole episode.
No, just the video.
Oh, the clip.
Yeah, just the clip, and it's got like a bunch of likes too.
Oh, nice.
So, and
interesting.
Yeah. So
anyone comment on it?
Yes, that was what I was going to mention, because it technically. So if you comment on a video, we'll address it as like housekeeping. Victoria K commented, "This album was reaction to the cancellation of the movie, so that's probably why it doesn't feel as fleshed out."
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I totally forgot that there was supposed to be a Gorillaz
That makes sense.
movie.
I feel like I was really harsh on that album in that episode.
We both kind of were. I mean, it's still not.
I still don't really like
great.
it, but I'm like, I feel like I in my memory, I feel like I just was really negative, and I'm like more just neutral on it.
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
I don't think
it's
you were
whatever.
too hard on it, but
That's good.
Yeah,
I didn't want to
but
be a
yeah,
hater,
so
'cause I know some people really liked it.
Yeah, it's all right. But Victoria continued to say, "That aside, Flimsy Steve should be a full song. It's amazing." And then someone replied, "Wait, what? Who?" said, "Wait, is that true?" And then Victoria K said, "It's what I've heard. This would mean the movie had been already canceled since last year, even if the news only came out some months ago. I don't remember the source, so if I find it, I'll link it." And she didn't.
Huh.
But
Come
I
on,
thought that was
Victoria.
interesting.
Yeah.
So, but thanks everyone for the love on the little video. You
Yeah,
know,
that's wild.
check out the full episode for sure, which I think because of that video has gotten some traction. Yeah, it's got like 60 views on it on YouTube.
Nice.
So, yeah. So yeah, that was my little, that was our little housekeeping. What are you doing?
I was like listening to it.
Oh, okay.
I had to find it. I was like, ooh, I want to see it.
Yeah, I just kind of took like footage of a music video.
Yeah.
On there, just kind of give it something visual.
Very nice. Very nice.
Anyways, so it's time for recommendation for today.
It is. I didn't really think about this.
Oh. You were asking me about it earlier.
Yeah, I was, and then I was like, oh, I forgot.
I assumed that you had one.
No, I'll think
Come
of
on, you
something.
got like a video game or something. You're always gonna recommend a video game.
I feel like I did that last time.
Gamer boy.
Let's see. I might just recommend an album I like, not like a new one, just in general.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if...
Yeah, recommendations don't have to be new.
Yeah, they don't have to be
things.
new, but I always like... I always draw to that. I don't want to recommend a video game because that seems like dumb to be like, go spend $60 and get this game. Go get the new
You've
Final...
done that before, though.
Go get the... I know, I'm just dumb. Go get the new Final Fantasy and buy a PS5 for it.
The thing that I do a lot... That's dumb.
I'll recommend something people can just like look up on Spotify for free if you pay for it. But it's one of my favorite albums of all time, and I've just been listening to it a lot lately. And yeah, it's just become like an all-timer for me for the past several years, and I just love it a lot. It's by Yola Tango. It's I Can Hear the Heart Beating as One. I'm gonna recommend that. Yeah, I Can Hear the Heart Beating as One by Yola Tango. They're an amazing band. They have a lot of music, but that one's my favorite. If you're just looking for it on Spotify, it's the album that's yellow with like a red border on the top. It's incredible. It's chill. It's a little noise rock. It's a little folky. It's a little chill. It's a little ambient, a little indie, whatever you want to call it. They're just a good band. They got a lot of good albums. I really love them. But yeah, that's my favorite one. It's an all timer. It's like a comfort album for me. And it's got a couple just fun bops on it too, but it is it's a good vibe. It's a good listen. I just got it on vinyl recently, so it's fresh on the mind.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, go listen to that. I Can Hear the Heart Beating as One.
Do it
by Yola Tango.
Do it, cowards.
Moby Octopad, Autumn Sweater. My Little Corner of the World, Stockholm Syndrome, Sugar Cube. Those are some of my favorites off of it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
So you're just going to list the whole track listing?
No. Just, listen to it. It's good.
What are the whole album credits?
So on guitar, we have... No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't want you to do that. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Mitchell.
You're welcome.
I'm sure we'll all benefit from your recommendation.
You'll be a better person for listening to this album. I
Be
promise.
A good person. A better person.
I think it's a very, just easy... I think most people could like this album.
Pretty accessible.
Maybe not all of it, but I think... I can't really imagine anyone being... It's not some, avant-garde, crazy, Kid A type stuff. It's just a good album. It's like it's a comfortable album, but you got a little bit of everything, tone-wise in there. You got chill stuff. You got some vibey...
It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's... I like when Yellow Tango gets into... They don't do it on all their albums, but I like when they do more noise rock stuff, too, and this album has a couple of those.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's cool.
I like it when they make noise, too.
I like some noise.
Cool. All right. Well, so now it's time for part of the show
for silly songs
where Larry comes out and sings a silly song. No, this is the part of the show where we talk about what we're going to talk about next. And I know we're supposed to be doing a Bloodborne episode.
Let's just say that'll happen someday.
It'll happen when it happens.
It'll happen when it happens because Clifford, we're old and work full time, and Clifford dedicating to beat Bloodborne is
it's
hard.
Quite a feat, actually.
Because you're not like me. You don't play video games 5 hours a day.
Right?
I don't really do that either. But
I mean, and it's
hard.
It's a From Studios game, and they're notorious for being extremely difficult.
Yeah,
and so, and also it's very scary.
And people will be like, "It's only a 30-hour game," but if you're not,
you're only a 30-hour.
It's
game.
a 30-hour game if you're good at it. But it's you have to train. You have to
I'm probably already
playing a FromSoft game.
That.
You have to develop a new skill to be good at those games.
Right.
It's not that hard to get the hang of it, but you really do have to dedicate to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's we'll get to it.
I'm working on it. Yeah. So.
But we're not going to rush it.
We already talked about. Mitchell already gave a suggestion for what we're going to talk about. So Mitchell, tell us what we're going to talk about next.
So. This might seem really strange because we don't really talk about...
You've mentioned this before on the podcast.
I've mentioned it.
Before,
I just feel like we haven't really discussed anime on here before.
Avatar.
Unless it was a movie. Avatar is anime adjacent.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that.
Yeah, but... So I'll give context.
We're going to get all weeb on you.
Several years ago... Clifford doesn't really remember for reasons because he has a bad memory. But we tried watching an anime called Neon Genesis Evangelion a long time ago. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I always forget. If it's Evangelion, not Evangelion.
Evangelism.
I always forget. I think that's why I always wanted to say it Evangelion because it sounded like evangelical.
Evangelion.
And it's there's a lot of biblical metaphors, so I'm always evangelical, but it's not. Anyways. We tried watching that a while ago, and I remember because I heard so much hype about it, and I watched a few episodes and was just whatever, not really feeling it. It's kind of weird, I guess, and I dropped it. And about a year and a half or so ago, probably a year, I just rewatched it. I only watched 3 episodes the first time I tried. But I was you know what? I'm going to dedicate myself because I hear so much about the movie End of Evangelion a lot.
Yeah.
Just people freak out about it. I'm going to give it a real shot. And I sat down. It's 1 season. You can watch it in a weekend if you really binge it. I took a week and I watched all of it and ended up really loving it. And then I watched the movie, which like you're supposed to watch the show and then you watch the movie. That's like what you do. And the movie absolutely like obliterated me. Like I loved the end of the show, and then the movie just like it was outstanding, and I was really just understood why people are the way they are about that property, you know?
Why are you the way that you are?
So I loved it. And yeah, it's just the movie's incredible. It's like a 5-star. I just really, really love it, and I absolutely empathize and understand people who just have always been obsessed with it and think it's this grand work of art, because it kind of is.
Yeah.
At the end, I was really surprised. I didn't think I'd care for it that much. So I told Clifford, I was like, "Look, you need to watch it. You need to watch the show, and you need to watch the movie. And watching a show is usually a big thing to dedicate to, but it's short. It's one season, and then the movie's like, I don't know how, it's like a normal movie length. So that's what we're gonna do.
4 hours.
He's going to watch it. I don't know if I'll rewatch the whole show, but I'm definitely gonna rewatch at least the last few episodes just to watch them again, and then I'm gonna rewatch the movie just to have it fresh on my mind. But yeah,
you should have enough time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I have, just to reiterate, I have never seen this show or movie before, except for apparently that one time where I have no memory of it.
You were very sleepy.
Yeah, sleepy.
So
we can just say it. We were partying.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
We were drunk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was tipsy. I wasn't drunk.
Oh, okay.
I don't get drunk.
I must have been pretty drunk.
Yeah.
I don't normally do that. It was a moment of weakness. I don't normally do that. Don't do that.
We're having a silly old weekend.
Drunkenness is a sin.
We had a few little cups of scotch, and we tried watching to watch a bunch of anime.
Have scotch.
Whatever it was.
I don't think I've ever had scotch.
Yeah, we watched. For context, we were just like hanging out, having fun, and then we watched. We were just like watching stuff on Netflix that looked bad. I'm not saying we thought Evangelion looked bad, but we watched something called like Gantz Zero or whatever.
Yeah, that was
because we just thought it looked really bizarre. We had a good jolly old time, and then we were like, "Oh, I've heard of this."
So it was the same night?
I think so, yeah. Because then it led us. I think we tried. We were like, "Let's try watching this," because we've heard a lot about it. And we watched like a couple episodes, and we were like, "Nah, this is boring." And then we like switched to stuff that was goofy and dumb.
Yeah.
So that was a horrible first way to try and watch that show. And I like.
Oh yeah, because we ended up watching that Japanese movie. Whatever.
Yeah, the live action one.
Yeah,
that was like really weird.
Yeah, it was
called
really
Tag.
weird. Tag. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, it was really weird.
But yeah, so...
Okay, so if you want to be a part of the conversation, watch the whole show and watch the movie if you don't want to be spoiled. And we'll see you when we see you.
Yeah.
You know?
If you don't like weird stuff that gets weird and weird... Don't worry about it.
If it
you
gets
can skip
weird
this one.
and weird,
I don't know.
Or just wait for us to talk about it.
It starts out very.
I've known some
like very tropey anime, and there's still some stuff in the show. I think the show itself is like good, but I think the final episodes are what make the whole show work, and then the movie is what I think is worth getting to. But the show itself is not really like what I adore. I still think the show's pretty good, but I do think the destination is like the point, you know.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll be the judge of that.
I don't really watch anime that much. I'm not really a big anime guy, if I'm being honest. I grew up on like Gundam and Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and stuff. I've watched some stuff like Cowboy Bebop, and obviously like all the Ghibli stuff. I like a lot of anime films, but I've never really been into like watching series or shows. And
me neither, but I've probably seen more than you have.
Yeah, definitely.
So
and Evangelion's just always been like if you like anime, it's like the thing you're supposed to watch. You know, it's just like the one everyone knows.
Yeah.
Like I had always known about it, even though I didn't know anything about it.
That and Death Note.
Death Note, yeah, I need to watch that.
You do, and we'll talk about it.
I haven't even seen stuff like Attack on Titan or like One Piece.
Attack on Titan's pretty good. I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah,
though.
I know people are just like, I've been kind of interested in what's it called? Not Vagrant Story. That's a PlayStation game. There's some anime about like Vikings or something.
Oh, really?
it's supposed to be like really good. Like it's supposed to be like the first season is like a really cool action season. The second one is like a complete.
It's just Vikings, the show.
Oh, what's it called?
It's like, that's not anime.
Vinland Saga.
Oh,
it's 2 seasons, and I only heard about this because people were talking about the second season is like just basically people talking, and it's like it's not really that actiony, but it's like incredible because it's just like character development. And people are saying like the writing is insane, and but it's like totally different from the first season. And it kind of makes me want to watch it.
Okay,
I've heard good things, but yeah, I've heard about that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh no,
I'm yawning.
I'm never dedicated to anime, but every now and then something. I mean,
it's probably
I get my anime experience from games though. Or I grew up on Kingdom Hearts and like Final Fantasy and stuff. So and Xenoblade. So I get my anime fill.
Yeah,
but
I remember people were asking us back when we did Avatar for us to like actually watch some anime.
Yeah.
So we're finally answering.
Yeah.
We're finally doing it. Be happy.
You better like it.
All right, cool.
You better think it's the best thing you've ever seen. I think I'm gonna. I gotta check real quick. Hang on. This might be one of the most unanimously rated movies for everyone I follow.
Oh really?
I gotta see. Hang on.
Hurry up! They're trying to get home.
No, you have to stay.
Okay.
Why is noise playing on my... Oh, I'm playing the Yola Tango album on Spotify this whole time by accident.
Oh. You've been promoting it this whole time secretly.
Yeah. Okay, almost everyone I follow has given this 5 stars except for 2 people who gave it 4. So, it used to be like everyone I follow.
Well, I'm about to break that trend.
You're going to give it like 3 stars. I'm
hate
be
it.
So mad.
Yeah, it's not even going to be like a terrible rating. It's just going to be like,
I can't, I'm like...
It's fine.
Even if you're like... I'm really not trying to hype it up like you were going to give it 5 stars, but I'm just excited to see what you think of it.
Yeah,
because
me too.
I think it's just such a like densely packed like thing. Like there's just so much
just a thing.
Like I just oh man, it's just one of those things where you watch it and you're like, I need to like talk to people about this or hear other people talk, or like you want to watch videos about it to hear people talk about it. I feel like that's when I know I've really liked something, when I go on YouTube and I'm like, I just want to hear other people talk about it. Not even like explain it to me. I just want to like hear people like discuss it because it's cool.
Yeah. I get that.
Like I've done that with stuff like, I don't know, like when The Lighthouse came out, or like Southland Tales, End of Eva.
Still haven't seen it.
When was the last time I did that with something besides that? Someday I'm gonna make you do Southland Tales, but we'll wait on that.
One day,
because that I'm like, I feel like you would be on the side that doesn't like it, but I think that would make it a fun conversation.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know. Maybe you'll surprise me.
I'll love it and hate it.
Maybe you'll be blown away.
It'll cause me to kill my family.
I'm gonna get you to go through your VA arc. It's gonna be great.
VA?
Vulgar auteurism.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's a pretentious term. I don't like using it.
I mean, I've seen the Lonely Mountain.
That's not VA.
It's not
the Holy Mountain. No, people just like that movie. It's just an artsy movie.
Not everyone.
Like M. Night Shyamalan is like basically considered VA. You know?
Okay.
Like that's like the typical face of like VA enjoyers is like you like M. Night.
Okay, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about.
the annoying way I can put it is like movies that a lot of people would consider bad but are actually secretly really good.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Like surface level they seem bad. I don't know. That's not how it is. I don't know the actual definition, but to me it's like it's usually stuff that gets that label. I don't label myself as that, but it's just stuff that gets like, oh, it's VA, you know. It's every time I see someone call a movie that, it's always just like a movie that is typically seen as like a bad movie by the general public, but is just like
but loved by a few. Where it's like
it's like a step
you either
above
hate it or you love it.
It's like a step above cult classic, or below. I don't know.
Right.
Define vulgar.
The more you learn.
Auteurism. I don't even know how to pronounce words.
Just do voice.
Here
voice
it
to
is.
text.
Wikipedia defines vulgar auteurism as a movement that emerged in the early 2010s, cinephilia and film criticism associated with championing or reappraising filmmakers, mostly those working in horror or action, and whose work had otherwise received little attention or negative reception in the critical mainstream.
So it's just making something a cult classic.
It's basically revision and praise for stuff that people felt.
Where it's like, remember when everyone said this movie was bad, but it's actually good.
It's like revisionism for movies, basically,
Gotcha.
where it's like at the time, like something like Southland Tales was totally bombed and everyone hated it and it reviewed poorly. And maybe there was always a cult following there, but then like people who kind of grasp onto
the internet
like,
happened.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I always heard or I thought this was bad, and then you rewatch it and you kind of revise it and you're like, oh, okay, I get it, like why people like this, and that's kind of the mentality behind it.
Okay,
I guess just like
I learned a new thing.
Like revisionism is probably like a simple. There's some nerd out there that's like, no, you're defining it wrong.
You fool!
I really don't care that much. I just think it's
it's interesting. I guess I've always known about that, but didn't know that it had a name for it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing.
Because it's definitely a thing.
That's why it's associated with M. Night, because it is like even today there's still this like aura around him. It's like, oh, he just makes bad movies now.
Right.
But a lot like people like me.
But no, he was actually good.
But I like loved stuff like Old and I think Knock at the Cabin reviewed pretty decently, but yeah, it's just championing things that are typically seen as bad, but you want to champion it as good because you believe it's misunderstood. That's kind of the mentality behind it.
Good.
It's basically you just think something's underrated and you
everyone validate me.
It's just when you think something's underrated and you want to be annoying about it. Yeah. That's all it is.
But this was actually good.
Yeah.
I wonder what movies I do that for.
I think everyone does that for something, and this is maybe we're gonna go into a tangent, but I think this is a fun little end slate. This is gonna be a fun little end slate combo.
Yeah.
Give a little bonus, but I want to see what you think of this. I am of the stance that it is completely okay and valid to say that you think a movie is good strictly based off of nostalgia alone. Like
I don't know about saying that a movie is good.
Like
but you can say that you enjoy it because of nostalgia.
Yeah, like not to say like it's objectively good and everyone should like it, but I think that people should at least be allowed to use the language that I think this is a good movie. To me at least, and that they shouldn't have to put an asterisk of, well, I know it's bad, but I just like it. I think if someone just likes something and it's good to them, then in their world it's a good movie, so they can just say
I think
it's
it depends, because like if they're like recommending a movie, I think it's fine to be like, hey, I like this because I have a lot attached to it. Mm-hmm. You might not like it, but that's okay. Yeah, you know, I think it's fine. Well, I mean,
that's just kind of like a courtesy of like, hey, this might not be for you, but I like it, and maybe there's a chance that you'll share the experience with me.
It also depends on if you can actually name any other like positive elements to it other than nostalgia.
Oh yeah, I mean, basically, some people will get like really attached to a movie or even like a video game or something that might objectively be really flawed or messy, but if someone still sees the inherent value in something that's really sloppy, but there's something in it that they think is worth highlighting, even if it's maybe prefacing it with just for nostalgia alone is a bad take, a bad way to phrase it, but if someone were to come up to me and say, hey, I'm going to recommend Batman versus Superman to you, and let's pretend I've never seen it for some reason. And I know it's bad, and I have heard it's like really bad and stuff, and I just wasn't interested. But someone is like, I'm going to recommend Batman versus Superman to you, because I think these, and I know what I think of it right now in this reality. Why am I talking like this? Hang on, let me start this metaphor over. Cut that out.
Start the episode over.
So, like, if someone were to come up to me and be like, hey, watch Batman vs. Superman, and I'm like, I don't really like that movie. I think it's bad. And they were to be like, no, it's cool. And they were like, it's not the whole idea of convincing people that you're actually right, but the subjectivity of a movie isn't just good or bad. It is good or bad to people. You know what I mean? Like, a movie can't just be good or bad. Like, if a movie is good to someone, to them it is good for very certain reasons. So to them, I can't tell them, well, it is actually a bad movie and you're wrong, and you have to clarify that you only like it because of your taste or your experience with it. But that is what all art is, right?
Well, here's the thing. Something like that actually recently happened to me.
So that's kind of how I am. But
wait.
But I do want to just say, if people are annoying about it, I will make fun of them. But I think there's like a cool, chill way to be that way about something. But if you're like, well, you just don't get Batman versus Superman, and that's like different,
right? Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Something very similar, like to that, happened to me recently, where I was with my friends from church. They decided to have a movie night, and they picked this movie called Rocket Man. It's not the Elton John Rocket Man.
Yeah, I was about to say, what?
This is a movie from 1997, directed by Stuart Gillard, starring Harland Williams.
Rocket Man.
And they picked it because the people picked it because it was a movie that they grew up with.
Yeah.
And that they quoted a lot. So like, okay, maybe it's fine. It was terrible.
Right.
I hated it. Let me see. What
nice.
did I? What did I? Okay, I didn't. I really did not like it. What was my review for it? Watch this with some friends, and I had to do my best not to look like I was dying inside. Harland Williams seems to try to channel all the worst aspects of Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, and Paul Rubin with none of the actual talent. This movie plays it safe so much that it's predictable and unfunny and not special at all. There's nothing worse than a comedy that just falls flat. And, after we watched the movie, of course, I didn't say that I hated it or anything. But I was just talking to the guy who recommended it, wanted to watch it. I was like, yeah, it's not really my thing. And he's like, yeah, it's not really that great, but this is a special movie for us, you know, and it's kind of a special night, so we just decided to watch it.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I get that.
Yeah, there's like this the attitude of removing the guise of film criticism and professional criticism in general, or having some kind of responsibility of recommending what people spend their money on, removing that aspect of it. If we're just looking at movies as movies, like someone would look at a painting as a painting, or just a video game as a game, and not being too responsibly critical over it.
Right.
That kind of attitude with movies, it's when someone's they don't think about the general opinion on it, it's special to them, and it's kind of just this attitude of they want to share it with people because they like it, and they think, maybe it won't be for them, but if there's a chance that they could have a similar experience that I have with it, that's something that's cool.
That's kind of how
I think that's kind of the approach that I guess I'm championing with this whole thing, is not necessarily that all movies are good, but if someone really loves a movie, it's okay for them to just be I think it's a good movie. It's okay for people to believe something is good, because movies can't be good or bad. They can't be only good or only bad. They are good or bad, just depending on the person. Because individual, and there's obviously like there's film school. There's a lot of stuff where you can technically rate a movie on how objectively good it is in terms of writing or production and stuff. But I guess it's going down on like a consumer level, because I'm not like a professional critic. I think that's like I think that's like a really cool, like, chill way to kind of go about stuff. And that's when it makes it more fun, is like when two people like disagree on a movie and it's like, I didn't like it, and then you just kind of talk about it, and that's when like fun conversations happen, instead of like trying to explain to the other person why they're wrong, but more just like sharing your experience and like explaining why maybe you feel a way without trying to like prove someone wrong,
Right, yeah. I do think personally that there are still some movies out there that are, to me, well, I guess that defeats the purpose, but I think they are objectively bad, and if anyone said that they liked them, I'd be like, why? Yeah. Like, first thing that comes to mind, one of the worst movies I've ever seen, Going Overboard with Adam Sandler. That movie is grating to me. I hated it so much. If anyone says that they enjoy it and genuinely think that it's actually unironically funny, I would question being friends with them. Honestly.
It's like there's stuff like that.
But
there's always stuff like that I'll be that way about as well. Especially some like movies like Terrifier. I'm just concerned why people like that movie, But it's like it's like whatever. I guess I can get it. I don't want to. That's not for me. Even if I'm
not touching that.
Not for me. But yeah, like stuff like that. Where it's like something is so bad, but like for some reason someone just is like, I love, like Freddy Got Fingered is probably like the most perfect example of this, where it's like a grating movie, but it's like, it's a lot of people like it. Mind blowing to watch, because it's just, that's another kind of like realm of like, this movie's actually genius, whatever kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then there's, what was another example I was just thinking of? But like something like Going Overboard or whatever, if someone was like, if someone said they like genuinely loved that movie, and I would be like, of course, I'm definitely not above being like, what? How can someone like that? I try not to say like, how can someone, or just I want to know like, why would someone like that? Not like a why, but just like I'm curious why you like it. Like I just kind of want to know, because I don't share that perspective, and I like
this is foreign.
I like to understand other people's like brains.
Sure,
it's really fascinating. So if someone tried to explain like, well, I think it's actually genuinely funny because of the writing and stuff, I wouldn't click with that. I'd be like, cool, man.
All right.
But then there's like the element of like, what if someone was like, oh, it's a movie I like watched with my dad when we were growing up, and then my dad passed away, so it's like something really.
It's like, all right, well then you don't like the movie. Yeah, you just like the experience you have attached to it.
Yeah, but if someone does have an attachment like that to like a movie or show or something explicitly because of that, and that thing, it's, I'm gonna call it Going Overboard art, I'm sorry. But it's like if a piece of art is connected to a memory like that, I think it's fair to if you can't help but like something, no matter how crude or like technically bad it is because of that, then I think that to you is like a good piece of art, because it is associated with something that gives you a good feeling. Like to me, that's like Twilight, That's like my thing with that.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I love watching it, and I can't help it. And it's like, it's one of those things where my brain wants to go, well, I know it's bad, but part of me is like, but like, it's, I don't know, man.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's interesting. I think it's an interesting thing. And I'm against being like blind to criticism. Like I will always want to criticize, and there's going to be movies where I call a movie bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I always like try to go from the headspace of like, of course people won't know that what my thought process is behind it, but whenever I talk about something, I always try to like exclusively make it about like to me, because I'll be like, yeah, I thought a movie like, I don't know, like Zack Snyder's Justice League, I thought was bad,
Yeah.
And I think the whole Snyderverse thing was really annoying and stuff. But I'm like, man, imagine being a Snyder fan, though, and that happens. That was probably the coolest thing ever.
Sure, yeah.
And it's like, all right, I can get why that was like a cool event and people really liked it. It's like I try to understand why people get that way. It's just when people turn it into an objective thing where it's like you just didn't understand it because you're too stupid. And Batman vs Superman is like genius, and you just didn't get it. I just wish film discussion was more about like people actually wanting to know why someone
actually caring about other people's opinions,
like caring about why someone disagreed with them in like an interesting way, like
in a mature
I'm
way,
curious why you disliked it, or why, instead of being like you're an idiot for not liking it,
right?
You know, and then maybe sometimes you might change someone's mind by happenstance because you open their eyes to something, or sometimes you don't. But I think a lot of people just make it like a competition. You want to prove people wrong, and it's like it's not really the point of like movies and art. It's supposed to, you have your own individual experience, and then you share that experience with others, and then if you relate with people on that experience, it's like the point, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think people who are who get all defensive and they're like, no, it's actually good. They're in the mindset that movies are either objectively bad or objectively good.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to get out of that.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And like obviously there can be an objective like skill, technical level to things, but people's experience, I think people's experience, whether they enjoy something or not, it's impossible for that to be objective.
Yeah.
Like if you watch End of Evangelion and you're like, that was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, I hated it. I wouldn't be like, you're objectively wrong. I would be very like, oh, what?
What?
It would be hard for me to not
what?
It would be hard for me to be like,
about?
I just don't think he got it. But I would genuinely want to know, and it would be an interesting conversation. But like, have you ever done this? I kind of like have gone on like binges on YouTube where I'll watch like movie reviews or game reviews.
I've never
knowing that the review is going to be a point of view I disagree with, but I'm just curious.
Oh, well, yeah, it depends on the person. Like, if it's a YouTuber that I genuinely enjoy, then yeah, I'll be like, I'm going to disagree probably the whole time, but at least they're explaining their opinion in a mature way and an entertaining way as well.
Like, there's like I went down this weird rabbit hole because I'm in like a big Final Fantasy phase right now, and I was watching I was like, I want to know why people love Final Fantasy 13, because I notoriously had a bad experience with that game. I didn't like it. I just had a lot of problems with it, and I was like, I don't know, because some people like it. I was like, I really want to know why they like it. Like, I'm genuinely curious, and I watched a bunch of videos of people explaining why they love it, and it's like making me want to play it, and I'm like, man, I like really want to play it now. Like, I want to try it again, and like with this perspective. And I try to sometimes watch stuff that praises something I typically don't like, because if that can,
rather than the opposite,
because if that can give me, well, I mean, I'll watch stuff even like with Metal Gear. I watched like a 5-hour video on Metal Gear Solid 4 of someone explaining why it's bad just for fun, and I love it. I mean, not that it's bad, but more that just how horribly like written it is and all the flaws, and they still kind of like love the game in a weird way, but and I was like, I disagreed with a lot of it, but I loved how they talked about it. Like, it was so good to listen to, even though I disagreed with a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it was really cool, and it didn't like change my mind. I still love the game, but it was like, okay, I totally get why people hate this game. And and like that with Final Fantasy 13, I'm like, if that can take something I had a bad experience with and give me a good experience with it, that's just more good stuff for me. So I'm like, if it makes me want to give something another shot, like, that's awesome. And that's why I like hearing about things, and I like to listen to criticisms of stuff I like, because it keeps me humble and makes it be like, okay, I get it. I don't have the best taste. I'm gonna like stuff that has problems, but that's like good.
Right.
It's good to recognize that.
Like
when I saw The Green Knight, I watched a lot of stuff explaining like why people loved it and stuff, and I was like, I get it. Like, it didn't really change my mind, but I was like, I totally like understand it, you know, because I want to. I never want to like I'm kind of okay with I don't know, questioning certain opinions on certain things if I'm like really like baffled by it.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's got to make sense.
And trying to understand it, but I always try to not drag down like someone if they liked something. Because I'm like, I don't want to be a stick in the mud, you know? Unless
No
it's
one
like,
does.
oh, I loved this horrible movie that talked about how horrible evil thing here is actually really good.
Birth of a Nation.
Yeah. Oh, I love Birth of a Nation. It's actually really good, and it's like it's something
It's
like
got
that.
some really cool ideas.
Like I have a line, of course, but
You know, I've actually never seen it, and I'm not even really sure exactly what it's about. But
I don't know.
I just know that it's got a reputation.
It's got problems.
Yeah.
It's got a problem.
Yeah.
I will not be watching. But yeah.
For our next episode, Birth of a Nation.
No.
And Song of the South.
God, horrible. Curse.
I like to stir the pot.
Highest viewed episode ever.
It would be our most liked episode. That would be really weird.
I mean, we get a lot of views, but not for the right reason.
Yeah. Anyways, well, we took a long time to end this episode, but that was a good discussion.
That whole section could be a little bonus.
Yeah, we don't usually do that, so, but it's good.
Yeah,
good topic.
I don't know why that came to mind. I was just like,
it kind of took the place of, because we didn't have a questions segment.
That's true.
Because nobody asked any questions. You can ask a question or pinned post in the Facebook community, or just ask a question anywhere on social media or YouTube. But I think this was a good replacement for it.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah. I mean, plus in the past several months I've been just picking apart my brain, thinking about stuff like this. I find it
deconstructing fun. Why you like movies.
Yeah, just deconstructing, trying to really be, I don't know, more honest about my opinions, and trying to be more what do I really like, and how influenced by other people's opinions am I? How much of it is my own opinion? How graceful am I with people disagreeing with me? Stuff like that. Really trying to just be I'm just trying to be a chill dude now.
Yeah, dude.
You know, because I used to be really into it was very cultured in the YouTube space several years ago, where Angry Video Game Nerd, Nostalgia Critic, Angry Joe type stuff, where it's just the big content was people
tearing apart movies,
horrible movies, and that was the thing, was negativity was cool, and
yeah.
I was definitely in that for a while, and I still think that can be fun, but I notice a lot. I think it is showing in the YouTube space too, but video essays and a lot of stuff, I think people are drawn to
positivity,
people talking about stuff they like.
Yeah,
I noticed that's become a lot more the whole negative, I'm the angry movie critic person, is not really the main go-to now.
Yeah, it depends.
It's still fun. There's still good versions.
I think
of
it's still out there,
especially
if it's a movie that everyone wants to hate.
Yeah,
because YMS's review of
someone
The Lion
taking down a
King.
Disney live action remake,
right,
that
yeah.
doesn't need defense. So it's fun.
Yeah, it did really well in the box office, but I think a lot of people already didn't like it anyway.
Or making fun of the Zack and Cody DS game. It's who cares? That's fine. No one's coming to defend that game's honor because it's.
But yeah, that's just classic kind of JonTron, angry video game.
It's
nerd
just fun.
I'm gonna play this weird game that's bad, and that's gonna be entertaining.
But now it's people want to know what people like more. I think people are more interested in what people like than dislike.
People like to be validated.
Yeah,
like Snyderverse fans.
Yeah,
we see you. You are seen. Anyways,
darn right.
On that note,
yeah, I need to go home.
Don't forget, we're watching Evangelion, so go watch it.
Yes,
and we'll talk at you when we after we do that. We'll talk about those things, and just always remember, don't pick any wooden nickels.
Drink your milk.
Eat your teeth.
Okay.
Okay. Well. I like that. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Cook your puppy. Oh, sorry. Don't do that. Don't do it. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Podwood Forecast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe. And if you'd like for us to give you a shout out on the show, be sure to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And also feel free to look in the show notes for links to our social media, our Twitter and Facebook. And as always, stay beautiful, and thanks for listening.
You'll never miss another review again. Your listeners will love hearing their names and reviews shared in your podcast, and it's so easy for you.